I'm ready.
Hey everybody, it's time for content! I'm Digi, I'm here with Best Guy Ever as always.
So,
and we're joined by Jackisboy once more.
Hi, my dog is barking in the background. Hello.
You should kill that
I'm
dog.
gonna kill it. There's a lot of dogs in this season, and I want to kill the dog along with it.
it's probably a fucking Sengoku lord of some kind.
Oh, maybe. Maybe it
Yeah.
inherited my dog. I don't fucking know.
And also joining us this time, newly, is Core Reviews.
Or just Core. I'm just Core.
Well,
I'd keep the reviews if I were you.
No, I can never escape it.
it's easier when you just say Core. It's like the name came and went. You know.
True.
I have to have the
Can't
meat.
remember it.
I want to have that rhythm, a whole cadence of saying your name. But anyway, and you just put out a video about your top 15 favorite anime of all time, so people can go check that out if they want to know your taste going into this season.
Was number one Infinite Dendrohedron or whatever?
Unfortunately, it was not. You know, I made the
man.
list. Like, I didn't realize that the best anime of all time was gonna come
Was
along.
about to come
in this
out.
season.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm.
Core, do you want to tell us about Infinite Dendrogram?
Isekai? Question
Yeah, I mean,
mark?
there's not much else to say.
I mean, you look at the image and you see the isekai town in the background. You see the characters poorly composited on this ugly background, and it's like, there you go. That's the show.
It's honestly hilarious that like the isekai town is so like thoroughly codified, and they just have it right there in the image.
It's so iconic.
You
It's
don't
iconic
even have
imagery.
to ask. Yeah.
You know, I found this show immediately relatable as the first. What stood out to me a little bit is the main character gets like a helmet in the mail. He puts it on. He like flops. He straight up, what's the word? He dead drops onto his bed, loses like all mobility in his entire body as he's transported into the Matrix. And I was just thinking, like, this is exactly where we are going. The only thing we need is like a mechanical fleshlight above his cock to fully simulate, you know, the sexual experience that would no doubt, in a truly infinite world, that would be the ultimate goal to have that happen as well.
Actually, question. Wait, was this actually an isekai or is it just a VR MMO?
It's just a
game,
VR
like-
MMO, as far as we
Both
know.
three.
Oh, well,
Okay.
actually, you know what? The one thing that bridges the gap that makes, and I want to talk about this with the show, is that it is clearly stated that the thing about this show is that, like, the premise that the world is so advanced, all the NPCs, one, have permadeath in the world if you kill a fucking NPC, and that they have human-level intelligence. So, okay, I'm just thinking, like, in any other show, those combination of factors, if this was a Star Trek episode, there would be a full breakdown on the morality of, like, a new world that has been created with an infinite number of new life forms that are truly moral, feeling, thinking creatures that should be respected as such in this digital world. There are several Star Trek episodes about this very thing, but instead, it's literally just like harem waifu bait bullshit. Just shows the emphasis. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
This is the show also where like if you die in the game, you can't log in for like a day or
24
3
hours
days,
real time. Yeah.
which is 3 days in game time.
That only
so,
matters.
like-
That only matters for this NPC death thing and the suspense they're trying to create for us. Although, again, that is a terribly optimized game. This is one of those things where a guy sat down. This was a light novel, obviously, and he's like, "All right, guys, we've written 1,000 light novels. Like, let's mix it up, baby. All right, we're talking about a world with, like, human-level AI, where you die in the game and they die for real, but you'll be fine. You just have to log back in a few days." Like, in no way is this a satisfying game design at all. It's just, it's to construct the scenarios in which our character faces minor levels of, you know,
This
concern.
is a case where they made a VR MMO and they should have made an isekai because it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Maybe it'll go that
very
way?
similar
I
with
don't know.
the Shield one this season. But that's pretty broken game. Also, I guess the isekai writers are not doing well this season. I don't fucking know what's going on.
I just can't overstate what a big deal this human level intelligence of the characters are. Unless they're not, I mean, everything about what the main character does is like, we need to actually value the lives of the NPCs in this world. Unless they're, like, in what way would they not be, like, thinking, breathing creatures if they're stated to have human level intelligence other than, like, I don't know, like it's all a facsimile that like is projected by some core AI and it runs all these processes separately. I don't know. I think there's a genocide going on in this game every fucking day. So that's pretty fucked up.
Nate, I had to tell you that there's something. I admire your ability to like actually fucking pay attention during shows like
I am
this.
pretty
Yeah,
good
I was
at
astonished.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I can tell that all three of us paid no fucking attention.
You're missing
at all
the
to
good
this
stuff,
show.
guys. That's how you mine
It was
for gold.
so hard. I remember, like, I can vaguely remember just the very end of the episode of this. I
When he
didn't
gets the
watch it
girl,
more than a week
the
ago.
Sword waifu. That
Only
was pretty
because
cool.
I thought it was such an weird. It's like basically like a tulpa that comes to life, and it's like you're assigned. Like, literally, it's just the game mechanic is that like you have a like guardian spirit type. Like I'm thinking of like in Neo, the guardian spirits from Neo. It's like that in a way, or like a mag from Phantasy Star Online, except that it's like I guess human intelligent AI girl companion. It's just like your waifu now. You just have the game comes with a waifu.
Well, okay, better than that. What my favorite thing about that is it clarifies the beginning. Some people just get some people literally have like a building or like a location. They're very different. But our character, luckily, by the luck of the draw, he gets the waifu one. Like not everybody gets a waifu, but he gets a waifu.
Did the game designers not realize that if they made that consistent across the board, they would have the best-selling game?
They don't
Only
want
if
to
they
sell
finish that-
copies.
Only if they finish that Fleshlight expansion they've been working on, and then it'll be a complete game, a complete package. Until then, it's a facsimile. It's halfway done, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, is there anything like in terms of the actual substance? I mean, there's nothing. They played a video game. They had some fun, I guess. They try to bait you in with this, like, guys, we've made the most complicated game ever. It's literally infinite possibilities. I mean, first of all, that could never exist. The premise, I know you're not going to do anything interesting with it. So it's just completely uninteresting from start to finish.
I think what they're hoping for with this show, and even it's so they delivered so little on this that I'm stretching to think that this is what they were trying to do. But like because the brother is like a bear in the game, he's like a weird like edgy bear, and like there's kind of a sense of, like you said, it's infinite possibilities. So like it's got a little bit of a wacky aesthetic. Like a bit like, we're throwing in everything. Like everybody's going to be like a different art style. Like there's other stuff that really goes way farther with that idea. If you look at something like Horizon on the Middle of Nowhere, which is a light novel series, it's like every character is like a whole different made up species. And you've got like 30 of them introduced at the very start of the story. This show is like, it seems like, oh, hey, isn't it wacky that there's a bear? And I'm like, not really.
No.
Not enough to care.
I mean, that's the equivalent of, like, the guy in the game being, like, a high-level player with, like, end game, like, rare loot. Oh, he got the bear suit. That's pretty rare. I mean, okay, cool. He has a Gatling gun. Okay, cool. But, I mean, they've done nothing to hook
When I
us.
saw the Gatling gun, I was just like, what the, like... Why would there be, if the other characters are using the weapons they're using, why would there be a Gatling gun?
I think it was...
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think it was implied that gun was, like, his embryo, like, his special thing, because it could, like, change forms, as I understand. It's the best I got.
I mean, it certainly doesn't help that this show is, like... one of, if not the most ugly show I've seen all season. It is
The CG monsters looked like a nightmare.
At.
The 2D was pretty shitty across the board. Yeah,
just the visual effects, especially. I'm so sick of these. Like, it's like if we throw a bunch of weird lighting effects on it, that's gonna make the animation look good. It looks so, it's unbearable.
I mean, you could tell just from the image, like you said, like the bad compositing, just that. Like, if you're looking at the Mal picture, you've got generic isekai town, the most, like, stock sky grass. I mean, it's sitting next to Bofuri, and you could literally bleed these images into one another.
That's
like,
true. That's very true.
But the Bofuri image has composition, and the character designs are obviously good, and the Infinite Dendrogram image just looks like ass. And it looks like... The way that the background like disappears into the distance looks really bad, and the characters look bad on it. It's just bad, and it's like the show looks exactly like that. It's exactly that difference. The level of compositional clarity between the Bofuri and Infinite Dendrogram is a direct parallel to the two shows next to each other.
And just to be clear, my whole thing about like NPCs, moral conundrums, etc., like those are all things that have arrived due to a lack of planning, I think, by the creators, not like an intentional like deep moral philosophical show. So let's not kid ourselves. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So that I would not recommend. That's my conclusion.
Me neither.
Neither would I.
I only actually sat through this whole episode because May made me. Like like 2 minutes in, I was like, I'm done, and she was like, "No, you got to watch the whole thing so that you can find out if anything happens." And I was like,
"That is the job."
Well, I mean, I stuck it out until when the Tulpa girl appeared, I was like, okay, something happened.
Yeah,
like I'm glad I did this, so I have something to say about this show before I just bowl past it. Which we're now going to do. They set you up at the
beginning with the egg could be anything. Oh my god, guys! Like ready for an intellectual show where anything could happen? They give you a cute girl. That is the answer. Yeah. In a world of possibilities, they choose a cute girl. Doesn't that just say everything about modern anime these
Our
days?
next show does not even pretend to have any kind of intellectual backdrop at all.
Indeed.
Jackisboy, why don't you tell me about Nekopara?
Oh, Nekopara. Yeah. Cat girls. That's it. They go around town. They work at a cafe? Yeah.
And you can fuck them.
You can fuck them, but I don't think there's fucking in this show, which kind of is
and that is the great issue with this anime adaptation and why I hate it. I hate it. I played a bit of the visual novel actually like a while ago. I got like a humble bundle that had like a bunch of different visual novels packed together, and I was playing Nekopara. I didn't really play it. I mostly just skipped through to the sexy scenes, and that was about it.
Of course.
Because I mean, it's cute cat girls. That's it. And this anime, I mean, it's fine. It's definitely better than I expected because I watched the OVA that they kickstarted that came out. What was that, like last year or so? It was mind-numbingly boring and very visually like just bland. Whereas this one, at least, it had like some personality visually. Like the characters were animated at all.
I'm just curious, was that production, is that like, I don't know what studio originally made Nekopara. I'm imagining based on that, it's like an indie small company or something, and they made their own OVA.
Yes, Nekopara the game was Kickstarter funded itself.
Oh, really?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like it's a small time indie project, but basically it got super popular on Steam.
Yeah.
And I had not realized, in my infinite lack of curiosity, I guess, towards stuff like this, Nekopara, like, it's sold on Steam as a no porn game. So I just had always assumed it did not have sex scenes in it. You have to patch in the sex scenes.
Right.
Apparently everybody knows this.
I didn't.
Except for me, yes.
I was not sure.
Yeah. I complained about Nekopara not having sex in it and being pointless in a video. I got like thousands of comments that are like, bruh, how could you have not searched Nekopara on Gelboru? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm not that into cat girls necessarily, but like, I mean, they're cute. I don't dislike the designs. I don't think of them as like instantly sexually attractive. They're more cutesy to me. I think they have like more of a feminine appeal, and I think that's part of why they've sold so well.
That's
is that
true.
I think more women have played Nekopara than an average visual novel, and it's made by a woman. But they adapted it to OVAs through Kickstarter. Now it's a full TV show, and I haven't seen any of the OVAs or anything. No interest in the game. I did, now that I know there's porn, I did look up the sex scenes. They look good, but it's just like one animation. You know, you get like one movement that plays for like 25 minutes, and you know,
that's all you need.
This world is full of two kinds of people: those who can get off to visual novel descriptions of sex, and those who can't. And
I mean, well, that's the funny. I'm sure that if you were to read it, that would be more.
It helps.
It would probably be a lot better than just watching the clip repeat for 20 minutes like I did.
That's what you get. Yeah.
But anyway, so the because I don't want to read that shit, and the voice acting's fucking terrible. But the Nekopara anime does not have sex in it, so like you guys said, it's kind of, what the fuck is the point? What do I care?
I mean, if the Steam version
so
sold,
inane.
If the Steam version sold so well and lots of people enjoyed it even without sex, I mean, I get the idea, I guess, of trying to cash in on at least like the character designs that are relatively. I mean, I like looking at them; they look nice.
They
Obviously,
look good. They animate well in this show. I think there are people who... I mean, May enjoyed this show. She was just like, yeah, I'd watch it because it's fucking cute. You know, I just want to stare at them.
Sure.
And for me, I don't know. They're not cute in a way that appeals to me personally. And like, I feel that way about like Gochiusa. And that show's also actually funny and things happen in it. You know, like I will stare at that show to look at those girls. This show... Yeah, the girls are cute, but fuck, they are literally fucking cats. Like they barely are functional enough to even communicate. Like they wouldn't make interesting girlfriends. They're good fucks, but like I don't care about watching a show about them. You know?
Well, let's describe once again. Rearing its ugly head is the uncomfortable blurring of the line between animal and man, which is definitely coming in.
This season is like
it's a great
did
theme of the
V-Stars
show.
cause this? What is going on this season? There's a lot of furry shit going on.
You know, there was some buzz online about like, it's so weird that these. I mean, first of all, the show had like no sex, so at no way was I ever like offended or like, oh God, a relationship is being manipulated evilly. I need to have an issue with this in a fictional context. But it is weird to hear like to see the cats out in public and have a little girl comment like, what are those underclass? Like, what are the literal slaves race doing out amongst the humans? What are they getting a little uppity, mother? Do we need to, have a lynching or two? I mean, what's going on here?
I think that is honestly like, if I were to watch more of this show, it would purely be out of curiosity for the completely bafflingly bizarre political implications of how this society functions. Because it's like I see a lot of shows like these, especially where it's like the entire premise is devoted to a very specific appeal, having a cat girl that, being surrounded by a bunch of cute cat girls, or something in that vein where the premise inherently doesn't make any sense. Like, just let us accept it. But all these shows feel the need to give some sort of really weird explanation that just makes things all the more
I mean, don't you remember the war of like 1855 when we finally suppressed the cat girl race? And ever since then, they've willingly accepted their role as our servants, as just a gene species. It's been great. I've been loving it ever since. Are we going to see
the cat girl uprising, their civil rights movement? What's going to happen?
I look forward to that OVA. That's going to be a good time. I mean, yeah, it's a little. I guess I could see why like some people are weirded out. Look, for me, my bigger issue was just there were so many references to pissing and shitting yourself throughout this episode, and I just thought, frankly, like when the girl says like, "Oh, I had to go back and change my panties because I pissed myself," I'm like, why are we talking about this?
They're trying to appeal to a specific fetish, Nick.
I mean, I guess so. It feels like they're going really broad, but then, I mean, I don't generally get off to girls pissing themselves. I'm sure some people do.
A lot of people do.
I think it is a bigger fetish in Japan. I mean, it comes up in a lot of fucking hentai.
I guess so.
Yeah, so many doujins just include a lot of pissing, so I'm not surprised.
Never been a fan, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess that was the weirdest shit. It was a very degenerate series. Oh, how about that one shot? Again, we're like, in a weird way, I'm sure some people really enjoyed this, but like when we see like the two girls kind of facing off, I tweeted an image of this. Like the one, the Kokonatsu or whatever it was. She just like mounts up on four and just shoves her pussy directly into the camera. And I was like, this is just a little on the nose for what I was hoping for out of this show.
Incredible shot. The framing on that shot was truly fucking impeccable.
It was sublime. But so I guess this is perhaps just a result. I bet that was a still like from the original visual novel. They're like, we can adapt this. This will be a great scene in our thing here. But I mean, it feels like they're going for a younger age demographic than the fetish discussion stuff and shots like that imply. And it's a porn originally, so maybe it was an odd choice to aim this way. I mean, everyone's been wondering why they didn't just make a hentai. I guess because the Steam version did so well and all that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're just hoping that people will watch it just thinking of it as a cute thing. Like, it's really funny because in the anime community, there are certain people who like really posture with being like puritanical, like Jeff, who's a faggot, who is always just like, king. I'm like I can't possibly enjoy this kind of thing. But like, I really think regular people might not even really look at this and immediately think of it as like grossly sexual.
The anime
so much
really
as
isn't
cute.
that sexual, aside
Right.
from a couple of weird shots here and there. But
So like I think there are plenty of people who could easily watch this, and even if they thought it was somewhat sexual or they were getting off on it, like doesn't necessarily like it's not nearly as abrasive as literally watching porn, you know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's very safe. It's a safe fap.
I mean, maybe
thinking about like the
that's
12.
true.
Think about the 12-year-olds who are afraid to actually look at porn.
I mean,
you know?
it's kind of. I guess it comes down to how you view it. But like, if you're the kind of person who watches a show like this, and what you get away from it is like, the author is creating a society in which these women are like subjugated. It's like, I know the author is trying to apply that to like real women, and that's sexist. And I mean,
Yeah, that's retarded.
If this is your thought process, I guess I see it, but I think it's a bit of a stretch. So I don't know.
I mean, I would have been. I would be more down to watch more of this show because I mean I did think it was pretty cute. It's just a bunch of retarded cat girls being like retards, and that's kind of entertaining.
Sure.
But I think my bigger issue is mostly I'm just not a big fan of how the character designs were translated from the visual novel.
A lot was lost, that's for sure.
Like in their visual novels, the designs are much like sharper. Like obviously they can't be as detailed because it has to animate, but they have this
They really
whole, like,
moified him, I guess, to use a weird word, but they like kind of A1ified him a little bit.
I mean, even just like when I look at Nekopara, like the anime, like it all sort of like blends together. Like it looks like I don't have my glasses on. Like they all have like the outlines are just like a slightly darker shade of the like the outline for the hair is like a darker brown, but it's not that dark.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's all like fuzzy. It lacks that like that pop, that like strikingness that I want from something that's cute. I want it to be like striking and in my face, you know, more like a Trigger show or like one of the better Dogakobo shows. Something like that.
So maybe the better question to ask is like, which is the best version of Nekopara if you want to consume any of it? Like, if you want a porn, you're going to want to get the game and patch it in.
Just the sex scenes on Pornhub.
Just the sex scenes on Pornhub are probably the best. But like, if you, I feel like kind of if
Actually, no, this is the best way. Don't play Nekopara. Play Wanko Tokuraso. That's a game with dog girls, but it's got more of a story. It's darker. The main character has an actual personality and is interesting. You know, the way the dog girls are treated by society and in the narrative is exactly the same as Nekopara.
I feel like if
this
you're
came out
watching
first,
this,
though.
you don't
And it's
want
better
the
sex
characters to have a personality. Not to like, just in the normal way, like you're just here to consume tropes and look at cute girls.
Consume product, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just obviously not that interesting.
If you want there to be like a story that would actually compel you to continue reading this thing and not just watching the sex scenes, even though Wanko Tokuraso has tons of sex scenes, it is primarily a porn game, but it does have a story. So,
with this show,
need to do at least half.
it's like sure you can compare actual like porn and be like, this one is of higher artistic quality. People are gonna be like, bro, I don't care. I just want the one with the bigger titties,
I care.
or shit like that. The one that more caters to my fetishes. To them is better. So maybe that's the frame you work to use. I don't know.
Enough of this fucking degenerate bullshit.
Indeed.
The next one we've got on our list is Hoseki Sho Richard Shi no Nazo Kante. Or what the fuck is the English translation of this title?
Oh, I got this one.
The Case Files of Jeweler Richard.
Yeah.
Jeweler Richard.
So this one's about a guy who this mixed race blonde dude in Japan who appraises jewelry, and he's like a jewelry detective essentially. He chance encounters they're both pretty boys, but they're well designed pretty boys. I will say I like the character designs in this show. I think they're very slick. Studio Shuka did this show. They're the people who did the later Durarara seasons and Natsume Yujin show. Basically formed to carry on Brain Space old Pretty Boys shows into the new decade. So it looks pretty decent, but basically it's about two pretty boys solving jewel mysteries, I guess, with emotional backstories behind the jewels. It's kind of like just one of those. It's like a bit of a detective show and then a bit of just like an episodic, like not quite cry porn, but just like, random little dramatic vignette stories kind of thing is the impression I'm getting from it. I thought the first episode was okay. you know, I mean, as far as an introduction of the premise of the show goes, it's fine. Did the premise make me think I want to see another episode and hear more stories from of dramatic tales of people and their jewelry? Not really. But what did you guys think?
There's that bartender show that I haven't seen, but that people say is good.
This is very similar to that.
I was going to say, because like the premise here is just, it's going to be new stone per episode. What's the backstory? Will it make me feel something or cry? And I'm just saying, like, the tropes of this first episode were like so played out, so uninteresting, so predictable that I feel safe in judging the overall writing competence of the show, and it is far below what could compel me to keep going personally. It's some Shonen shit, pretty boys looking at gems. If you like those, I guess is the show for you. But yeah, it doesn't hook me. Does not hook me.
You put it perfectly.
Yeah.
Did either of you other guys watch this?
I did not watch this one.
Lol, you missed out, bro. Fuck you.
You really did. You would not even probably remember that you had watched it a few days later, honestly.
It looked the same as Pet, so I was like, okay, maybe I watched this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, dude, no, it freaked me out because when I read the description of this before watching it, it says, the novel follows this guy, a handsome British jewelry appraiser, and another guy, a bright, upright Japanese college student who solve various jewel-related cases by unraveling the hidden psychological aspects of their owners. And when I read that, I was like, what the fuck? I watched this. Like, I definitely have seen this show before. I was freaking out because I had, like, a perfect image in my head of these two same characters, but it was a show that was, it was Antique Holmes. Does anybody remember Antique Holmes?
No, not at all.
Is that like Sherlock Holmes?
2 years ago, there was some seasonal show where it was exactly the same premise, but it was an antique shop, and it was like a Western Holmes. Like I think he was literally a Holmes named. You know, but he was
I watched that entire show. I think I know what you're talking about.
Was it better or worse than this one?
It was better, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
It had weirder visuals, that's for sure. But I only made it through half the first episode of that show, so I guess I made it farther into this one, actually.
I mean, I was kind of... This is one of those things where, like, the premise itself is just not very interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, in the first place, like, I just like the idea of, like, jewelry in general. Like, it's just a scam. Like, the entire industry is a scam, so I'm just, like... already turned off just by the idea of anyone pretending that there is any value in these items.
Sure.
And then, like you said, it's just it's very played by the books. It's not, like, exceptionally bad or anything, but I'm like, yeah, I've seen these exact
weren't you
stories
moved
before.
by the stunning revelation that while the main character's grandmother had indeed been a thief, had stolen a precious ring, and that he, like, wanted to put her spirit to rest by returning it, weren't you so moved when you found out that actually she was glad the ring had been stolen and it had no negative impacts on her life whatsoever, thus her spirit was free to ascend to the afterlife, and we came to a wonderful euphoric conclusion at the end of the episode. I mean, Jesus Christ, you could not write a stupider ending if you tried.
All right, Nate, I want you to introduce us to the next show because it has a fairly complicated plot.
I'm the only man for the job, right?
It's something.
Tell us about Hatena Illusion.
Okay, so Hatena Illusion is, in short, it's this season, or I guess this half of the season for us, Koisuru Asteroid or whatever, where you got another girl meeting a childhood friend after a long time, thinking it's a girl, but surprise, it was a boy. Okay, but that doesn't really matter. Point is, there appears to be a mansion filled with a family of magicians. And I'm pretty sure magic is actually real and is used for real-life magic heists, but we don't really get into that in episode 1. What we do get is, like, the reunion of these two friends after many years of being apart, where, like, there's backstory about, childhood friend, you saved me. Okay, that's all great. But the boy shows up at the house to, like, be tutored in magic to become, like, a real stage magician or whatever by the father, who is a famous magician in his own right. And the girl is now like, what? You were actually a boy? I can't accept you as, like, a member of the household or whatever. Also, the day he shows up to begin his apprenticeship, the fucking dad has to go on a month-long trip overseas. This was a very poorly planned beginning of this apprenticeship. Okay, but no matter. It's going to be like some learning magic. We can tell from the OP that these two are gonna, like, be magical thieves together and get into, like, magic shenanigans. So I feel like the show is riding the line between.
Well, you have to mention as well that the mom is a magical thief. who
Yes,
I
yes.
guess was like tutoring the daughter, and she's like trying to follow her mom's footsteps.
Very true.
Seemingly both of them in secret. Like I don't know if
the dad knows or not. I'm a little confused as to exactly like how much. Like she has a magic scarf. The magic scarf does magic things. Okay, fine. But like, it's. I was saying the show feels like it's riding the line between like, hey, isn't magic cool? Like, you know, on the stage, we love magic, one of those kind of shows, and also like an actual like magical girl, possibly heist kind of show where like, you know, these two sexy young children grow closer and closer together, spurned on by the predatory adults in their lives. So, I mean, episode 1 was not like nightmarish. It was okay. Animation was very soft and pleasing to look at most of the time. Designs are all fine. House is okay. Don't really like any of the characters yet. Very cliche. Very, I don't know. They haven't really started anything. I'm still confused as to exactly where the plot's going to be going. So I guess I would charitably say for this show, like, I would maybe watch another episode to see where it's going, but I'm not really hooked by what they've given us so far. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was that stupid twist. The stupid twist. She refers to him as like a prince. Like when they're first saved, I was like, "That's so." It's a masculine sort of title. I'm like, how do you not assume he's a boy?
I guess because Makoto is like a gender ambiguous name. I think
guess.
It could be a boy or a girl, but nothing about like their flashback in any way like would convince one to think it was definitely a girl. This just seemed to be a totally wild assumption, despite all the things about being a prince and acting in, you know, more manly ways and dressing more manly. These are generally hints as to, you know, the gender of
more
a person.
masculine. Yeah, I was kind of mixed on it. I was really hating it for the first half. Well, like the first like couple minutes before the OP was like really beautifully animated and shot. Like it looked really cool. Like all the colors and like the backgrounds looked really cool. But then after the OP, it was kind of mixed, like overall aesthetically, and I was pretty disappointed by that. But I thought it was all right. The characters, I agree with you about the characters, Nate. I wasn't really grabbed by the premise or anything yet. I might give it a couple episodes or something.
Like, the dad fucks off. We have a boy and a girl that we're getting to know a little bit. They're just filled with tropes. And, like, every other character is just,
tropes,
like, a stereotypical maid or, like, butler. They're not doing anything
or
of
cute
interest.
lolly.
There is a cute lolly, yeah.
The cute lolly,
you know
the
what?
Fujoshi maid. The
most endearing part was when the guy, like, instantly became friends with, like, the younger daughter or whatever after giving her a flower. I was like, aw, that's nice.
Cute. No,
I like that. This is
I like
by
the designs,
Children's
though.
Playground.
I mean, it's more than just cute because that girl clearly wants him. Like over the course
I
of
mean,
the episode,
she's definitely, like,
it's
10,
heavily
but-
suggested that she wants him.
I guess that's true. I noticed that this show is animated by Children's Playground Entertainment, as opposed to like I don't. So like more than any, this one's definitely intended for children. I would guess. Then why'd they make all the characters so sexy? Then explain that.
True.
You can't do it. You can't do
mom,
that.
dude. That mom.
I mean, the mom was hot. Yeah, that's true. That dad, dude. That
That
dad.
dad, dude. Oh my fucking god.
I want to meet that dad.
I was pretty into the character designs. I'm a big fan of those like red eyes. That's always something I'm into. As a whole, I thought it was interesting, maybe more from a meta standpoint. This show just feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like it should come out like right now. This kind of the hapless dude thrown into this harem of women. I feel like that's basically been moved to isekai, and you don't see this kind of premise very often nowadays.
I was going to say that this is a very old school show in that it immediately reminded me of Hayate the Combat Butler and Ranma 1/2, like primarily, because Ranma in the relationship between the characters where you've got the boy is like forced to live at this big mansion house, and the girl wants nothing to do with him because he's a boy. They're going to run, like they have the same, he walks into the bath while she's in there, the classic scene. So like you've got that element of like the, of course there's 1,000 shows that copied Ranma and Urusei Yatsura and shit. So, you know, it just feels like that old style. But then there's also like a lot of particularly Hayate the combat butler feels to it.
He is literally a butler in the thing.
He literally becomes a butler. He has that kind of like soft, passive personality. He's like a, you know, kind of a scrawny boy, even though he's supposed to be like, I guess, a badass secretly.
He's got some magic.
And he's very polite, you know.
Yeah.
This show isn't nearly as funny as Hayate because that show was very meta and, you know, played around with the tropes more and did more original things. This show feels much more by the books, by the numbers, but there is, I think the main sort of hook that they were trying to establish in this episode was the idea that, like, the girl is secretly a magical thief, and there's maybe, like, the boys are both magicians, the girls are both thieves. It's just, like, a thief versus magician kind of thing. Like, I wish we had more of a sense of what the action was going to be like.
Yeah, we didn't get, like, any of that. Just hints.
Yeah.
Just hints.
This is a show that I definitely think, like, I'm going to watch a second episode, but I have no idea if it'll be a keep or a drop after that point. Like, I really need to know what the action's going to look like.
I suppose in that way you could perhaps call episode 1 inefficient in, like, hooking one, but
definitely.
Hey,
there was too much time spent on generic tropes, introducing more characters than necessary, giving them more time. Like,
the maid
Lolly
and the
Girl
butler
has several scenes, Maid has a bunch. They didn't need nearly as much time.
They did not,
you know?
Yep. Save that for episode 2 or something. Well, I guess we got her out.
Jackisboy, did you watch Hatena Illusion?
I did, yeah.
Wait, did you say anything about it?
Yeah,
I said a little bit. I said a little
words.
bit, yeah.
You guys' voices are a little hard to distinguish from each other.
Fair enough.
No, I thought it was all right.
All right, well, the next show, does anybody have any desire to introduce the Show by Rock sequel, or should I do that one?
Go for it.
Did anybody
you
watch
go
this?
For it.
I didn't watch it.
Show by Rock Mashumeiresh, I guess. Is that an English
right.
word?
Mashumeiresh. Yeah.
I can't find out. Well, in any case, it's if you haven't heard of Show by Rock, it was originally a Bones show made in collaboration with Sanrio, based on like an app game.
Yeah.
It's got 3D modeled chibi furry characters for its concert scenes.
Yeah.
In the original show, they were also like fighting. They were like playing music and also fighting like Neuroi bad guy, like weird alien virus things or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty
sick because they live in like a computer world. The main thing is that the character designs are really good. The girls are cute.
Yes.
They're in a band.
They're all keepers.
This show, man, because the original Show by Rock, I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of. I thought the plot was just fucking inane and bizarre and made no fucking like the just the conceit of the show, like the idea of the show was baffling.
Look, it's
it
bad. It
no
sucks.
Fucking sense at all.
But Aqua, I think is her name, is like one of the most adorable character designs of all time.
The main character from the original show is one of the greatest character designs, but
no doubt.
That show had a big problem with the fact that its 4 main characters, in my opinion, I don't know how many people were bothered by this, but like the 4 main characters all had really like bold color design that clashed with each other, and they would be on screen together all the time, and it would just be way too much, just fucking all these blasting primary colors. This show fixes that problem, the new one. The character designs are still cute.
They're still pretty fucking bold. I mean, these colors are intense.
They're outrageous, and 2 of them have giant hair, so it's like unbelievable amounts of giant hair. But like they used more pastel colors. There's more of the same color across the designs. They just look better in a frame together. So it doesn't have that problem. The problem it does have is it's fucking boring and nothing happened in the first episode, and I didn't care about anything, and I have no intentions of watching anymore.
You know, I gotta laugh when like so the girl's gonna go to town. She won American Idol or whatever. She's into round 2. So she's going to do it. That's cool. And like on her way out, like she's in a town. It's all the little fox people. I thought it was kind of funny. Just our characters are like the human looking ones. Like presumably for our perspective only. I don't know. But then, like, as she's leaving, her dad hasn't said anything. But as she's leaving, everyone said goodbye. The dad's just on the mountain waving the flag. I mean, I thought that was funny. I thought it was cute.
This show did a way better job of establishing what the fuck the world of the story is than the original. Because in Show by Rock, we start with a girl, just a regular like high school girl, like getting sucked into her phone in the middle of like a crazy battle,
right?
And then we're suddenly introduced to like an egg-shaped producer man who wants her to be in an idol group, and like this is before we even understand where the fuck we are. This show like. you feel like it's just set in a fantasy world almost. Like it takes its time. When we get to the city, it's like the character comes there by train, and like she lives in this world. It's not it's not an isekai like the last one was. So it makes a lot more sense, and it's a lot easier to follow, but it's also less exciting, and it looks much worse. Like I went back and watched these, like, because there's CGI scenes in both shows.
Yeah.
The CGI scenes in the original are just vastly superior. Like, way more detailed character art, way more detailed animation, way more accurate to, like, the playing and everything. Just, the CGI in the new show is nowhere near as good. And incidentally, the new show is by Kinema Citrus, which broke off from Bones at some point in history, so... It's like they got passed down, like, we're done with it. You guys take it this time.
Yeah, I mean,
thought this was boring.
It's not that interesting. The characters, again, extremely tropey. You feel like they're kind of just making the show because it's like a profitable franchise. They're just, let's keep this train rolling, get some more characters in there, move it along. I mean, it's based on a game. I assume this is based on like a sequel game. I don't know if this is all anime original characters. I don't know, but. I mean, there's some discussion of, like, the purple one is a wolf. She's cute. The green one's from the Dragon Mint tribe. Is this, like, lore? Is there going to be, like, a battle or something? I don't know where they're going with that, but that was kind of an interesting detail, I guess. I don't know. I don't have very high expectations.
Well, let's move on from this as fast as possible.
All right.
Please, God.
Does anybody want to introduce Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun?
I'll be down. All
right, go for it.
Okay, so... Hanako-kun is a show about this girl, Nene, who has a guy she likes, so she finds out about this rumor where if you go to the third floor girl's bathroom and you call out the name of Hanako-san, then this ghost lady will come and grant your wish. So she does so. Turns out Hanako-san is not a girl but a guy, and antics unfold from there. They're like... I was really into this one. I don't know how much you guys liked it.
This was good shit, dude. This was good shit. I was way into this show.
Great show. I agree.
Let's address first the, like, extremely good, like, I guess I'll say, like, artistry. The animation was simple, but I felt it was used really effectively. Yeah.
I probably didn't enjoy the show as much as you guys did, but I still thought it was good, but the art in particular, it's the fucking variable line widths, man.
Yeah, the outlines, they're like thick. Yeah, it's really odd.
I love, like, because doing thick outlines on characters is, people wouldn't probably think this, but it's more difficult because you have to, it's not just one thin line that's the same all around. You have to control the width of the line depending on, its placement on the body. So, like, just knowing how wide to make it in different places, it's like an artistry in itself. And when you see it done so well, the characters look so good. They fucking really pop off the backgrounds, and the backgrounds look great too.
They did.
Everything has, like, every shot has a distinct color palette and aesthetic. There's, you never just are looking at a classroom or just a bathroom. It's set in, like, a setting sun, or there's some kind of, eerie lighting in the bathroom. Like, there's, use of greens and reds in the palette in a way that most anime don't do. It looks painterly. I mean, just watch the trailer. Like, it looks, it's the kind of show where, like, any screen cap could be a desktop background and it would look good, So, great looking show for sure, even though I will criticize the fact that it is literally moving manga.
I think that's a plus and a minus. Based on how it was structured.
I think that's what they. I think they probably looked at it and said, like, we're going to be 100% accurate. So how can we justify it being anime by making it, like, as visually appealing without the use of animation?
This reminded me a lot, frankly, of Galco, because Galco was similarly really beautiful moment to moment, but had very simplistic animation almost the entire time. So it really reminded me of that. And, like, I was curious. I saw this was based on a manga, and so I went back and I looked up the manga. I was expecting it to be 4 coma based on, like, some of the early jokes, but no, it was like a full normal laid out page by page 18-page manga or whatever. And yeah, like obviously there was a decision made early on. Like, okay, you must have noticed that like they'll do that thing in manga where they'll have like a bunch of rectangles of like the side of a shot, and they kind of fade over into like the bigger thing. The way that in manga they kind of show like time passing as they're like moving to a new location or something. I noticed they did that like a bunch of times here. So this, more than possibly any show I've seen ever, maybe, was really committed to like, we are going to take a manga, do that, and just like animate the panels. And they committed, and I think it was like, rather than being in some uncomfortable place in between, I thought if that was their goal, they totally succeeded at it. And as a result, it just looked great.
I think one of the things that it does especially well, because I read the manga, because when I was going through like the seasonal chart, just looking at the shows to see what interested me, this one, I mean, it immediately grabbed me. I think it has by far like the most striking like art that like it immediately popped out to me, and I was like, I loved everything about this aesthetic. So I was curious, I looked up the manga and I read quite a few chapters, and I was really enjoying it. And the anime manages to execute the one thing that I'm always afraid of for these adaptations of mostly comedic manga, which is the timing, the comedic timing. I think it does a pretty good job of keeping that pacing to the jokes, which usually when it's translated to anime, everything just feels so slow in comparison.
Right.
Whereas this one, it handled it pretty well. And just visually, I was pretty into it. This is from the director of Gakugurashi and Hakume to Mikochi. And I'm much bigger fan of this than I was Hakume to Mikochi, because I feel like in Hakume, he was like, this man loves paneling. He really loves paneling, like all these things, like you notice, like in certain shots where he'll have like the one image and then he'll put like a Gaussian blur on that and then fade in a panel on top. I think it looks retarded. I'm glad he doesn't use it as much in this.
I liked it.
He also
in Hakume to Mikochi, it's way overboard.
He also directed White Album 2, which did a lot of that as well, if I remember.
I mean, when it comes to the jokes, for example, I mean, yeah, I definitely think the timing was well. I just kind of, this is one of the shows you kind of just know when you're watching one, and you sit back after watching a bunch of these, you're like, wow, I'm like legitimately enjoying myself and like really liking this. And like, for example, there was some jokes just made about, and you know, I guess you can really give credit to this originally, like for the writing to the manga, but the way it's delivered is so important. As when they're just like, yeah, I don't like, she's confessing to a guy, he's like, ooh, you're a little fat, I don't like girls, you look like a daikon, you've got daikon legs. I got a big fucking laugh out of that, the way it was delivered, and
then
it
it
was
just
great.
becomes a running joke throughout the entire thing.
And then they keep using it over and over. It was fantastic.
No, it's great. It was really
good.
funny. Yeah, the time. No, I agree with you, Core. Like the timing was like great, and just and the line
even
delivery
later.
too.
Oh, sorry. Even later in the episode, when things get serious with the whole mermaid plot, that was done really well. A lot of beautiful looking shots with the mermaid and the little. I thought that the fight, I guess, quote unquote, was like literally one slash and done. I've just been kind of conditioned to expect more, but I mean, generally you don't need more. So like once I got over that, I was like, oh, I mean, okay, that looked great. That was efficient and told the story. All good stuff. All good stuff. And I like that he's kind of a little bit of an actual creepy ghost at the end, not just like a total, I don't know, pushover nice guy. He's like, lol, you sold your soul to me, basically. Haha, you have to work for me. Epic. Epic. Nice guys finish last, so he's no nice guy.
True.
It was funny.
There you
It
go.
was funny.
So the thing about this oh, sorry, you go first.
I was just gonna say that I'm really into this particular character dynamic, particularly with just Hanako-kun as a character. I think it's kind of interesting because this is technically, I believe it's a shonen manga, but the character archetype of Hanako-kun himself is very shoujo-esque, where it's that kind of like cool, suave, you know, always ahead of the game type of guy. But then, you know, there's those little hints of like a darker past that it bleeds into. And I just enjoy that, like from the standpoint of how it handles it. Usually, a lot of the time, it can be a little too edgy, I guess. It kind of comes off as kind of cringe. Whereas this one, I feel like it taps into it just in like just the right, like almost self-aware-ish kind of way, where it can be more dramatic, but it never feels like it's getting bogged down.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. They keep it for moments when it's effective and not just like, I don't know, labored or excessive.
It's great at like setting like an eerie tone throughout, like it,
Yeah.
and like balancing that with the comedic side. I thought, yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah.
So this show, like, the only thing that kept me from really getting that into it is that there's just so many shows that are like the same plot. Like, basically, you've got a supernatural character who is going to like battle or have to, you know, resolve issues with supernatural creatures, and then like a regular girl who's going to be his assistant. And like, I think of, for instance, Majin Tante no Gami Nero, which was a Shonen Jump manga where, like, the main character was like a detective from hell, and the girl is just like this hapless assistant girl who like eats all the time, and he makes fun of her and sort of picks on her. And like, it's not the same tonally as this show, but the way the structure is, the way the stories are, there's a ton of shows like this. Last year we had, or 2 years ago, Muhyoto Ryoji or whatever, was sort of similar. And then the one that really this particular reminds me the most of is Gegege no Kitaro, which has been, you know, a franchise since like the 60s, come back a bunch. It currently has a show going that is also very like aesthetically kind of interesting, has really great character designs. And like, when I watch this, I can't shake the feeling of like, this is fine, but I could go watch Kitaro, you know, or I could go watch this or that, or like any of these other shows that are all similar. So I guess it's kind of like, there's no reason not to watch this show necessarily, especially if you're not currently, if you're not always comparing everything that you want to watch for like which one is most worth your time, I guess. Yeah. But, you know, it just kind of, it left me in the end feeling like I won't remember to keep up with this like week by week. I don't think I'll remember to watch it once it's over. And when you know, when it's currently airing, if you're somebody who watches all these currently airing shows, you're excited about this one, you think you're going to watch it every week, I can easily see how you end up watching the whole thing. But like, when you view it as a show that's over and comparing it to any other show that's over that you could watch, I don't think I'd end up picking it, you know? And that was just kind of the feeling I got from the first episode, at least. You know, I wouldn't say I was opposed to watching any more of it, but it just didn't seem like I would ever remember to do that, you know?
That's fair. I suppose I would just finally say on it, like, compared to other properties, it's true. This definitely has a plot I've seen. It reminds me a little bit of, like, Holic, I guess. I don't know. But like you said, there's lots of things with very similar plots. But, like, I think that what for this one makes me like it is the originality is fairly low, but it's in the presentation and the execution specifically of this particular plot. That's the strength of this one to me. So if you're way into that, I think this will be a big hit for you. If not, I mean, yeah, fair enough. It'll fall into probably everything else.
Okay. Well, does anybody want to introduce
I
Oshi
want
ga
to introduce Oshi ga Budoukan Ittekuretara Shinu.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God. Okay.
You sound excited. Go for it.
Oh, God. This was, okay, I'm not going to lie. This was the show that most captivated me this season. This is the best show for depicting late-stage capitalism and the downfall of society.
Yes, dude.
That is what the show is about. Okay, this is a show about a pop idol group getting their humble beginnings and one innocent young girl chancing upon them in their early days of formation. There was a lot of idol shows. We've already talked about Show by Rock. There's a bunch more. This is the best one. This is the best one.
For sure.
Our main character girl, I forget her name, she becomes so enraptured by pure chance with not even just the idol group, but the one character in particular, Mina, the salmon pink colored one of the group, and becomes a dedicated super fan. And we're talking about, like, I mean, this was the best part. The first thing we see of, like, the crowd of this group, it's all gross, fat, weirdo guys in front of this group. That's exclusively the audience. And then our girl just joins them. So our girl herself is, like, a fairly attractive, normal-looking girl. We learn later that she works... Okay, she's hot. I mean, she's definitely hot overall. And she works at, like, a factory, doing bread things, doing quality control. That's all fine. But her life at home is an utter disarray. She spends seemingly the vast majority of her money on merchandise for this specific group, and in particular, Mina, because she is a stan the likes of which you rarely see on the face of the earth, where she will go to every single event. She will purchase This is why I'm saying it's late stage capitalism, because we're at a point in our lives with this show where we're commodifying things like handshakes, things like several blocks of seconds spent standing in front of someone, just throwing yourself at these people for this parasitic relationship that you're getting off of this person that at first it seems like the person actively hates you and doesn't want her there because she's so obsessed. She is so into it. She's always there and is such a creeper. She doesn't want to be anywhere around her, as far as we can tell. So to me, watching the show, it was like, this is a treatise on everything wrong with like idol society. This is like a modern man's Perfect Blue, where it's like, Jesus, this is a stark, unflinching reality of like, this is the nightmare that your life will become if you allow yourself to be swirled into like the degeneracy that is idol culture. It is utterly disgusting and repugnant. But then the biggest fucking twist of my fucking life happens at the end of the episode when it's revealed that Mina is actually in love with the girl for being such a super fan, totally undoing. It's the opposite of The Graduate, where we find out that everything she was doing was actually good the entire time, and that I've been the fool, and that, no, guys, you do want to be a stalker. You do want to throw your entire life away,
so
devoted to a fucking retarded. That's right. Donate $10,000 to your favorite Twitch ethot, guys. Just throw it away. It's not like you could do anything better with that money. Let them have it. Let them use you, you fucking simp. Give them everything you have, you fucking garbage piece of shit. Give it all to them. Who the fuck are you? You are nothing. You will never be anything. That's what this fucking show is about. It's about the destruction of innocent people who are enraptured in a society that takes advantage of them and commodifies human interaction. God, it makes me want to fucking kill myself. And that's why it's my favorite show of the season.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Glad you thought so. What do you think,
hell
Nathan?
yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Jack, do you agree? Do you disagree with my interpretation?
Dude, your interpretation is spot on. I 100% agree with you.
Good.
It's
okay.
All these fat men who are into this idol culture, they identify with this hot, attractive young woman. And they're like, oh, I'm just like her. Haha, I'm not the other fat guys that are in the show. Haha. Let me buy all the shit. It was hilarious. And the character design.
I feel like there's like a 3-layer joke going on against all of us watching the show, and I'm not sure what level I'm at in this joke.
I gotta say, I mean, I watched this as, I consider myself a hardcore otaku.
Sure.
And I've consumed a lot of otaku media, and the otaku media presents the otaku pretty much the same way always, right? Mm-hmm. So this is very in line with the portrayal of otaku from shows made by otaku for otaku. These characters they will wait in line all day. They will spend their entire fucking paycheck.
I don't understand
they'll buy
it.
And there's
it's the saddest thing on the fucking planet. It makes me want to die.
And it's really funny because this is the only reason that any of these industries survive it's the cows. It's the same exact. And there was a moment when I was watching this episode where I said, this is just a mobile phone game, except you at least get to actually meet the girls.
Only you can actually
potentially
one day
touch them,
you get to touch them if you're real lucky. Maybe if they're like straggling from the group, you can like grab them and like take them to your bunker, and then you can have your way with them as long as you want. That sounds great.
This honestly though, okay, so on the one hand, idol culture creeps me the fuck out because ever since Perfect Blue, I'm just like, well, that's obviously the way it really is. So like I can't to me, the idea of having like that level of obsessive fandom over a real person is like, I feel like it requires a certain lack of self-awareness, or if you are self-aware about it, it's still creepy, When
they have like the speeches in these shows about how like, no, like you encourage, like the girls come out and talk to you, they're like, thanks for encouraging us. It's like, look, the girls think that you're a fucking sap. Like, their managers know that you're a fucking cow. You're a fucking whale they're draining revenue from. And how do you not realize you're being fucking played by this system? Every part of it is so sickening.
It's because they are... So, okay. I do think this show does a pretty good job of actually showing what you get out of idol fandom. I
suppose so.
And it's... If you think about it in comparison to other things, you might be surprised by the result, because like let's think about anime fandom, right? Like you as an anime fan, the main way that an anime makes money, like let's say a best-selling show, right? Monogatari. They sell the Blu-rays. So you buy these extremely expensive pieces of plastic to show your support for this show so that you have access to watching this show again, that you enjoy. You buy toys, you buy art books, you buy just all this stuff that's like cool permutations of these characters. But no matter how much you love this thing, it cannot specifically express love towards you in a personalized way. Like the creators could. You could even have like those, there's anime where there's literally just a girl talking into the fucking camera at you, like, and telling you that she likes you. There's plenty of anime this that get made, but you will never have the feeling that it sincerely is speaking to you because it's a mass market product.
The keyword there is sincerely. I would argue you can never get that by paying for it. But I know your point.
This is where anime and idol culture confuse together, you see, because they can give you something like this show where the idol is in love with the stalker. Oh, God. So it is reciprocated love. That's the fantasy we're indulging for idol fans.
This is like dangerous. This is like a dangerous piece of media in my mind.
Problematic.
This is going to hurt people who buy into this shit even a little bit. People are going to make mistakes.
I'm
laughing at them. We're laughing at these situations.
I don't want to laugh at them. I want them to have self-respect.
Nate,
That's what I want.
Make fun of these fat, sweaty men.
You two are dating. You and I both date fans of us. So
true, but I don't think it's to possible. It's not to be ignored, the process of like selection, because when I met my girlfriend, it's not like she was like the only girl I knew that like I just took whatever I can get and like I don't know, just had like no standards and like I don't know, like pay, like a mail order bride I guess would be like the apt comparison maybe, but like no, we talked for a while, got along. Got to know each other, met several times, and then established a relationship. That's so different.
And it wasn't like she was giving you her entire paycheck every week before you got together.
Okay, you can make cases that there are degrees, but I think
let's address something here. Okay, so Mina is in love with the girl, and we don't know why yet. But
Eripio-san,
it kind of seems like Eripio is paying Mina's entire existence. Like, she is her husband. Straight up. Like, Mina doesn't have many fans.
Yeah,
because this girl, it's we don't know yet, and there's actually some surprisingly interesting like plot threads that are suggested by this show because it's a question in the air. Does Mina have no fans, and that's why she's buying so much of her shit? Or is the fact that she's buying all her shit the reason nobody else is investing in her because they can't compete?
Right.
And this question is raised by the show but not answered. So that's something I'm interested in. And but either way, she literally is the sole proprietor of Mina's fucking existence in this group. Like,
more or less.
She's
more or less.
So yeah, she basically is just providing for her. She basically is like she has made
Sugar
the
mama.
waifu into the wife in like a very bizarre way.
But oh my God.
Is that what's attractive? It's like, hey, you know what? This girl who is obsessed with me can hold a steady job, can pay for my whole existence. Like, what's not to love?
It's hard. It's hard
and
to
she's
jump
hot.
in to discuss. And she is.
There you
it's
go.
hard.
Shelves.
It's hard to get into the show because, like, in order to get where we are in this situation, so many things had to go wrong in all these people's lives in order to. So, like, okay, pick your poison. Is it the fact that she has abandoned like hygiene and like looking nice as a human being? Okay, you can tackle it from that element. Should we tackle it from the like economic, financial angle about what a irresponsible, retarded way to live your life this is? We could do that. Should we talk about how she has like no other pursuits and her only friends are like other otakus with like probably less degeneracy in their lives, but still a good amount. Like,
Nate,
there's so many
and then let's
ways.
talk about it from the idols angle, where all of them are in this extremely insecure career. This girl is literally dependent on this woman for her entire livelihood. Like, assumably, if she is unpopular, then if this girl wasn't paying for her, she would not be in this group anymore.
Well, real quick, let's address like the existence of the other idols, because we see them interact with fans, and their interactions, like mine is like the shy one, but the other ones are far more like when they go into work, the fans are on the stairs that like these girls have to go through. So like they're like real people out in real life they see regularly. Like it's so bizarre to me how like little barrier there is, and the other girls treat their fans. Well, they're like, "Oh, hey, great to see you again, bro." Like Kuma-san or whatever. You're my friend,
this is
right?
The fascinating thing about it is that idol culture is really interesting in that it's super niche, right?
Yeah.
Because it relies on cows. So. In this show, again, one girl can sponsor an idol's entire fucking existence. So all that idol really needs to do is be able to interact with that one fan who will do that. I mean, that's what a marriage is, essentially, is two people, like, becoming financially codependent and also dating, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so this show like is presenting that even the smallest time idols can still have a career as idols because these fans will show up to them even though they're not super famous. And like I don't think we really
She's
have
at the beginning of her career for sure. There's lots more to grow if she succeeds. Yeah.
And like here in the West, I think we really conceive of like, you know, if you're not a superstar, people don't worship you. Like if you're a fan of a, let's say an indie band from your hometown, and like they're beloved enough in your hometown that the band is able to exist by playing shows, you know, regularly in this one space. And, but like people might love them and might worship them, but they will always look at them as like, you know, they're an underdog band. They're not superstars. They're just precious to me personally, you know?
Yeah.
And like idols are this weird combination where it's that same kind of relationship, except with this whole veneer of they're pretending to be like super idols, you know, like they have fake personalities, they have made up characters. Like this would there would never be like a darling indie band in America where everybody is completely fucking fake and, you know, fake to their fans, unless it was like some really geeky thing, you know. But that is what idols are. They're really geeky, in spite of the fact that, you know, if an idol group does get famous, then they will play the Budoukan, you know, and they will be a mainstay of Japanese culture. But like, if we're talking about a small idol group, the people who care are these obsessive fucking weirdos, you know? And like, it is kind of like a sign of character. And I think this legit is a huge part of why otaku love the idol so much, because the otaku know that they are disgusting. And it's the fact that these women are basically like a hostess, acting as though they are, you know, friendly with these people and shaking hands with them and taking pictures and allowing them to get close. You know, it's worth the money to them, and like it's way more intimate than buying anime. You know, it's way more intimate. It's like you have an actual relationship with the thing you're paying
literally
for, you know?
is that whole scene where the one like fat friend of the girl, he's like isn't paying money to, you know, interact with your idols the best.
Yeah,
like it is the commodity of that interaction that is inherently appealing to them.
They're like inspiring the new fans to be more dedicated, like the one fat guy. And it's
that line to me, I thought was meant to essentially imply that this was prostitution, because that's what people like. People who like to like solicit prostitutes like that they pay for sex. Like they enjoy.
Yeah, they have control. It's a quantifiable thing. There's lots of appeal to that kind of very specific relationship. I'm sure, you know, people enjoy being part of.
I think with otaku, there's this sense of nobility that they feel about this stuff, where they feel like the queen has descended and deigned to speak to the pauper, and the pauper will be respectful and not do anything fucking retarded.
What I just don't understand is how every single one of these otakus in these audience doesn't spend every single fucking second of their life reflecting on how, wow, this is how I'm able to have women in my life. This is what I have to do to get a woman to shake my hand or speak to me. They don't think maybe I should work on some of these things.
Nate, you have to think about it this way. All right, so these guys, fat, ugly, weird, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they go through, let's say, starting in middle school, they start to become attracted to women, right?
Sure.
They start to face rejection. They start facing it all the way through high school. Maybe they're getting bullied. Maybe they just don't talk to anybody. They sit in their room. They spend time on forums, right? So they have no sense of community or confidence in their personal lives. So they get onto online communities, and that's where they meet other people who are weird in similar ways to them, who are interested in similar things. And then they develop a sense of community with those people, and it's like, okay, well, maybe none of us can get girlfriends, but we all hang out together and have fun and go to these events. I hang out with my friends all the time. Like, these same people go to every fucking show.
Right. They
all
know
these
each other.
people know each other. They hang out. They know each other on forums. They go to the cafes. Like, they're not bored waiting in line every time. I mean, they are the one time when they have to wait for like 8 hours in the sun, and then the dresses aren't even good, which is fucking hilarious. But like, you know, it's because it's not just merely something to cling to. It basically is a facsimile of what a functional life is. You have friends, you have social events, you have a girlfriend, essentially someone you pay to show you affection. It's like, if I can't get those things on my own, at least I can get this, and they're taking as much solace as they can in it. But like there's a very strict rule, and it's the exact same rule that we had in slavery. Keep it funny.
Yeah, you
Don't
gotta
mention
keep
the
this funny.
fact that
Any
this is
serious
fucked.
examination of this will reveal the infinite myriad disorders in all these people's lives. And to gaze at that would be like gazing directly at the fucking sun and would blind you. So you're right. It's just that, like, I can't look at a show like this and not see how fucked up everything that's going on here is. You know, I've actually never watched Perfect Blue. I gotta go watch it, man. I gotta see what the real shit is about.
It's a great fucking movie.
Oh, God.
And it's terrifying. I mean, it's basically beyond just being about idols. It's about just the way that, like, fame creates a different person out of us. You know?
That's fair. And obviously I know that, like, bad things happen. That's, like, a worst case scenario. I'm just saying, like, in little things like this, I'm seeing the stepping stones that are, like, creating problems in people's lives. Like, just for example, take this, go on a little journey with me into, let's say, like, 2 years pass in the world of this show, and, you know, Maya, whatever her name is, she's doing well in her career, maybe other people have finally come around, and she moves on. You know, she goes to a bigger city, she goes to a larger place. Oh, she doesn't come to the venue anymore, and now our main character, Epia, whatever the fuck, she's like, oh, where's Maya? I feel like this person I knew, I used to see her all the time here, she's abandoned me. I have nothing. I'm left with an empty life now. And I don't know, could that inspire maybe violence or at the very least like depression of some kind? Yes, absolutely. What she should be doing is like building meaningful structures in her life, not just throwing it away on this shit. And the fact that the show this show is fucking serious about this shit. It's encouraging this lifestyle, and it is blowing my fucking mind that it's putting like a favorable impression. I thought this was like a critique, but it's not.
I thought they were laughing at it the whole time, and
they weren't. They were not.
It's dipping it fucking dipping its toes in both sides. You know, it wants both. It wants to laugh at it, but also promote it so it can make money on the anime. It's
that's how all the otaku
sure.
media is. You know, like it's always because at the end of the day. We're trying to keep it funny. I mean, that's what the show is. This show
failed to keep it funny for me. This is too real. It made it too hey, maybe for other people it works. For me, this makes me want to kill myself.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see if she confesses her feelings or something, but...
Bro, it's the fact that the name of the show is like, I want to see her get to Budoukan. You know this is going to be a show about how they never confess to each other, and it's going to be about her helping a career from behind the scenes to the big confession at like the end of the show, at which I pull the fucking trigger and blow my brain out of my fucking skull. That's going to be the real climax of this show. It's going to be incredible.
Your suicide, yeah.
To be honest, I went into this show expecting to not be into it. I mean, there was that. What was that show? The Dogakobo show. That was like really creepy.
There's a couple of them.
There's
I know what you're talking about.
Uzumade?
That's what it was. Uzumade. Yeah. I was thinking about Uzumade, and that's a whole sort of like obsessive stalker dynamic. In that case, I can see the appeal for some people because it pushes the envelope so far. Yeah. But for me, it was just uncomfortable, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, if they pushed it farther and made it funny, that's fine. That's totally fine. But they didn't.
Well, for me, knowing what I know about idol culture, I was expecting it to be like really immediately just turned off. by Budoukan, but to be honest, I found it pretty entertaining. The production is strong, and
You're right.
I like that it focuses not so much on the idols. It's just sort of the idol fans are where the focus lies, and a lot of it is them just sort of hanging out. I mean, obviously, there's the deeper, darker sides to the implications of the premise and the characters. But as a show, I found it entertaining and pretty funny.
Dude, all those things they're very much there. I totally agree with you on all that. It's just when I step back and think about it, it is concerning to me, some of the things I'm noticing. But yeah, production's good. The character designs, it's I don't know, they're a little more realistic, I guess. But I liked them. They looked really good.
Reminded me of Shirobako, actually.
They didn't even use CG for the idol dancing scenes.
I noticed that. That
was awesome.
That was nice.
I was like, yes, finally.
That's a step above these other shows, and they're fucking, bullshit.
We'll get to those, yeah.
Mentioning Shirobako, like, that's what I really hope from this show is that, because the title is, if my favorite idol makes it to Budoukan, I'll be able to die happy. So her goal is to help this group get big. And so maybe, like, with them developing a closer relationship and maybe her getting more involved in the group, like, maybe they actually will make something of themselves, all these people, like, maybe we're really going to see these guys go to Budoukan, and, like, if that's the case, it's not going to be easy, like, these characters are going to really have to work for it, figure out some marketing tactics or something. I'm curious how serious this show is about, like, will this feel like a sports anime? Like, usually if we're going to Budoukan, we got like a...
It's nationals, dude. Hell yeah.
Right. Exactly.
We shall see. We shall see.
Oh, for anybody who doesn't know, the Budoukan is like the biggest concert venue in Tokyo, so...
Okay. Right.
Figure we should probably lay that down.
Anyway,
anybody have any more comments on that?
Recommended for existential terror.
No doubt. All right. Well, the next one is Uchi Tama. This is Nekopara, except it's boys.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. So this show is it's by Studio Lapin Track in collaboration with MAPPA, which is apparently Kunihiko Ikuhara's studio. They did Sarazanmai as a collaboration between them and MAPPA as well. This does not feel like an Ikuhara show.
Yeah,
it is. It is conceptually kind of weird in that the main characters are a bunch of pretty boys, except they're actually literally dogs. They're not dog boys. We are just shown them as boys, but they are literally dogs, and they are intercut footage of them as boys or dogs, and the dogs have these weird, almost ugly, cute, like very simplistic, older kind of art style designs.
Did you know this is an 80s manga that's been, they added the cute boy element to it, I think, for this show, which is why it's
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, okay.
That's the gist.
I've actually seen one of the... There's like an OVA that came out in like the 90s that I've seen. And in that one, it's just the original designs that you would see in this show. That one is actually pretty entertaining, but the shift between the two is so... The two designs... I mean, first off, I just don't like the designs for the, like, cat boys at all.
They're shitty.
I find it really unappealing.
Yeah.
I wish they just kept them looking the old way. They look so much better with their old designs.
Yeah, it's like... Just watch one of the Tama and Friends things. They're like cute. If you just want to look at, like, cute, simplistic... designs, but like this, I don't get it. I don't understand why this.
I think these designs, they kind of have like a very modern, soft, almost moe boy look. Yeah. Like they're definitely much closer to like Nichi Bros or something, or Osomatsu than like Osomatsu obviously has weird designs, but like that softness and that more modern look. But like the hair, they've all got like the two-toned hair that's kind of like the visual novelty. I mean, I guess it's to reflect how they look as animals, which makes sense, but it's just a little obnoxious.
This is a flawed premise.
I don't know.
From the start.
I'm sure there are plenty of girls who will think these boys are cute and that they're cute enough to
If
watch.
I was
but at
the
same
producer
time,
and someone came to me on my desk and put this plan for this, I'm like, no, just don't do this. Just make them normal, or make them the way they used to be.
It's kind of like, so you could have a show like the old show where it's just about cute animals doing cute things, or you could have a show about cute cat girls doing cute things like Nekopara.
Yeah.
But if you combine the two, I have to be just as into both. And it just so happens that I'm into neither at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did not last like 5 minutes in this show. Like I looked at it and I literally thought, wow, this is technically very well crafted, and anybody who this appeals to is going to absolutely love it. I fucking hate this. I'm not going to watch it ever again.
Those are my exact thoughts.
I'm a fan of Catboys, but aesthetically, this show is not really doing it for me. I will say, if you want to look at cute Catboys for a short period of time, there's a Chinese anime that came out in 2018 called Hey, Your Cat Ears Are Showing. It's 3 minutes an episode. Like, I feel like a lot of these shows where it's like the inherent appeal is just like the premise or the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Why do they need to be 24 minutes an episode?
That's a great question.
I just want
That's a great
5-minute episodes that I'll watch, but
there's not
they're
enough shorts
way too
this
long.
season.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was surprised when some of these were actually the full length. And,
I was
of course,
trudging through some of these. It was tough.
Again,
the sad thing is that we're probably the only people who feel that way, because shorts just across the board do shit numbers on Mal. Like, I think Galco's like the only short that's ever been.
Galco was one of the reasons Galco was so good was because it didn't waste any of your fucking time. It just got right to the good stuff and then got the fuck out. It was so good, but
I'm glad we're all on board with this. We need to promote shorts. People need to get into shorts.
You're
so
right.
many good fucking shorts.
I'm telling you, it's because
cause.
they're in a different category on Mal is probably the main reason why they get.
Not all of them. A lot of them are
is that
on
not
TV,
true?
So.
Okay, well, hey, great. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, let me just, again for the show, the specter of that uncomfortable bridge between animal and man raises his head once again. And, like, the one I remember most particularly, there's like a tough bulldog named Bull, and
this is about where I quit, when he was just on top of the thing, like, yelling down at them, and I was just like, I
skipped around too, so I think I was like halfway through or something. I could not fucking deal with just watching this all the way through. I knew what I was getting myself into. And there's just a scene where like his human form is like a big, like, tough looking, like, I don't know, 20-some-year-old.
Yeah.
He looks like a human man, and yet, like, I see him, like, on all fours, like, on his knees, like, in a yard, and, like, fully clothed, and he's like, ooh, master needs to come home and, like, be really nice to me. Like, I can't wait till he... It was like, this is fucked up. I don't want to see this man being, like, so weirdly servile. Like, okay, a dog can do this. A human cannot. It is strange. So, I mean, just, again... Gross and weird. No thank you, show. Just another reason to reject the premise. Don't make this show. It was a mistake.
Animals are not good.
Maybe some people find that cute.
Animals are bad, dude. Dogs suck.
I like dogs, but I don't really love dog media that much.
Especially anime dog media.
I agree. I certainly agree.
Let's move along. We are really in like the ghetto right now of like some of the worst shows this season.
True.
But the next one is Boku no Tonari ni Ankoku Hakaishin ga Imasu. Does anybody want to introduce this show?
I could introduce this one.
Please.
Go for it, dog.
So it is about these teenage boys. One of them being this shy kind of boy, doesn't have many friends, but he is always followed around by this guy who believes he is basically some like demon lord kind of guy.
He's a chunibyo. He is a chunie. He's the same chunie as every chunie in every show about chunies. Fucking tired of it.
They love themselves a premise. They love themselves a trope.
It was definitely that. It was fine. I thought it was okay.
It was just basic bitch chunie jokes the entire episode. I mean, I got extremely bored.
I couldn't believe that this was like, because I think just last season or the season before that, there was a show that was about chunie boys in high school that was way the fuck better. Like, I only saw the first episode, but I liked it, wanted to continue. This show, I made it 5 minutes in, and I was just like, this is fucking terrible.
Character
like,
designs
this is the
were
most
abysmal.
basic. Every fucking phrase out of the main character's mouth is, it's the chunie boy. He's gonna say he's gonna say chunie things. I hate that guy.
I was so scared from like the poster on Mal. I thought it was another dog show because the kids
got cat.
I thought so too. I literally thought so too.
No, please no, I don't want to watch another dog show. I was about to fucking kill myself, but then I was like, okay, it's not a dog show at least. Okay, it's fine.
At least. I cannot get into Chuuni shows. Like, even the ones that people say are good, I never find myself very into. Like, I watched the Kyoani Chuuni Bill. I thought it was okay. Like, it is the laziest like form of comedy in my opinion. Like, the jokes are always the exact same. They're never funny. It's just like. It's just stupid.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like you have to be so creative to make this premise.
I was going to say, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know. But, like, I know our buddy Tom Oliver likes the Chuuni show. But, like, I would bet all my fucking money in the world that, like, what makes that show good is, like, the KyoAni factor, not that there's such a strong premise.
I mean, that show is
Chuuni.
infinitely better than this one. There's no
question.
question.
The animation's amazing. Love the, that's KyoAni goodness. There you go. But this is, I mean... It's like, take that minus the KyoAni factor. What do you got? You got the strength of the Chuuni premise. Great.
I'm just wondering, like, does this actually work for anybody, or is this just like a really bad attempt to cash in?
It's got a 6.32 on here. That's about
it's
average.
Not doing well. I mean, that's pretty bad for a Mal score.
Yeah, for Mal, you're right.
6.32 for a full-length episode. That's a
true.
terrible fucking score. And it's only got 14,000 lists. So let's stop talking about it.
Okay, got it.
Fucking nobody wants to hear about it.
I'll say, I say the only joke that made me a little bit chuckle, I guess, like I saw it coming, but then I laughed anyway, was at the end when it was revealed that, like, the main character thinks he's like, oh god, these fucking Chuunis are so bad at everything, I'm gonna have to help them, like, in school, because they're in the same group, and then actually they were good and he was bad. I was like, ha, fuck you, you are trash, just like them. I enjoyed watching him feel bad. That's the best thing I have to say about the show.
They're playing some Animal Crossing. That was pretty nice.
That was good.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah, I like that game. Yeah,
I take it back. 10 out of 10. I enjoy Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
that's a good game.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. All right. Well, I'm gonna introduce the next one because this one fucking was a major disappointment for me.
Really? Okay.
Which is 22/7. And
you expect your boys at A1 Pictures to really deliver the heavy hitting, huh?
Well, I didn't even fucking realize it was A1 Pictures. That's fucking hilarious. That explains what happened, I guess. So 22/7 is an idol group, a real life idol group. I think they voiced themselves in this show.
I was curious about that. Do they?
Because the main character girl does not sound like a voice actress. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Her performance is weird, but. So they already had a series of web shorts called Anohi no Kanojo Tachi, or The Diary of Our Days, I guess. And I only saw, I don't think it was ever considered completed. They're just like 1-minute episodes made by a studio called Cloverworks. They look like Kyoto Animation shorts because the character designer is the same character designer of
I thought that was the
Yukiko
case.
Horiguchi, who did, I believe, K-On!, right?
Yes.
K-On!, chief animation director and character design, and Lucky Star, one of the fucking main KyoAnis. So you look at the shorts; they looked great. They were really fun, just sweet little slice of life things. I was looking forward to there being more, and I thought it was really fucking good. Then they decided to make a whole TV show with A1 Pictures, and it has no similarity whatsoever to those shorts. It's the most weirdly edgy and over-the-top,
it's so good.
Idol
I fucking
show.
Love this premise of this fucking show.
What the heck is
I
the
love
premise?
how
It's so confusing.
fucking retarded the plot of the show
It's
was.
so
Every second of
fucking
it.
stupid.
Believe in the wall, girls. Believe in the wall. Trust in the wall. Let the wall guide your every decision in life.
The agency's
what the fuck
like
is
under
this
a
wall?
zoo for some fucking reason.
What
they
is
went
the
to
deal
a
with
zoo
that?
and
I don't know.
I'm like, what
I don't
the
know.
fuck's going on?
It's
It was-
incredible.
So let me just describe the plot that'll be enough.
Best way possible.
For you to understand. So the main girl is this like traumatized former pop songwriter, I guess, in high school who has given up writing songs because of some kind of trauma in her past. She's real fucking emo. She's like just not into interaction at all. But she gets invited to the zoo for this like idol placement. Like everybody thinks they're going to an audition, but they show up and like right away there's a couple extra girls, and the girls who are there explain to her, they basically went around Japan and just gave every beautiful girl in the country one of these things. So you're under the impression
I missed that.
Yeah, so you're under the impression that like that everybody at this zoo has an invitation, but then it turns out that it's just the like 7 girls who all who show up. Yeah. So I don't know what the fuck the point was of suggesting that.
I'm already confused.
Yeah, no, it wasn't true. I think she just. I don't know if she was using an idiom maybe that didn't translate or something, but she literally says that they go to every. They just went to every beautiful girl in Japan and gave them a thing, which is not true. 7 of them got them. They all have.
I think there's 8.
Really,
I think there's 8 of them.
But it's called 22/7, though.
I'm counting the people.
It was 8. It was 8. It was
I don't know.
That's stupid.
Maybe one's gonna die before the end of the show.
That's real bad branding.
Stupid. Agreed.
Anyway, so the girls they each are presented as having like different personalities, but they're all like very one note.
I skipped that entire section. I don't need to hear their personalities. They're the same person.
They're
all
literally
the same.
presented as obnoxious. Like all of them are annoying. They're all like combative. They're all like over the top. They sound terrible because they're all voiced by non-voice actresses.
Yeah.
And then like basically a huge man in a black suit, like literally the attention duelist guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows up, and he's like, "Follow me." And then he just starts walking, and like 2 of the girls start following him, and all the other ones are like, "Well, we don't even know what's good." All right, and then they just do. They question it. They're like, "This seems shady and retarded." This was a social
experiment
they just follow
to see if they can lure innocent women into a trap, like by their will. And yes, the answer is yes. It works.
And then he immediately takes them into an elevator and goes like 30 stories under fucking ground into this gigantic government facility under the zoo that is just an idol training facility. There's nothing unique about it. There's nothing different. There's no reason for it to be underground. There's nothing about it that's like government special. It's just an idol training facility, but the reason it's underground is because at the bottom of this shaft is the wall. And they have to hang out in the vicinity. The girls have a hangout room. Now, granted, this is not a dorm. They don't live here. Like, it kind of looks like one of the dorm rooms from Harry Potter, but they don't live there. But they just have to hang out in here when they're around so that they can receive messages from the wall.
I mean, to me,
there's really
it looks
no
like a fucking
incentive for any of them
altar. It looks like they're coming here to be bled out and fucking die to the wall for the wall.
It's like a sex dungeon. I was like,
exactly.
Are they going to a fucking sex dungeon? I was like,
can we consider the layout of this facility where you have to use an elevator to get from floor to floor, and so like if you want to go to the lounge is on the bottom floor by itself.
Yeah,
you have to like specifically seek to sit around in this area when you're not busy doing anything at the facility. Why would you do that? Like, why would anyone hang out here?
Has demands. The wall has needs.
Does the wall just all... I mean, because clearly from this point forward, we're going to see the wall give them commands while they're hanging out in the lounge, because they're just going to hang out in the lounge because that's what the show needs them to do. But, like... So are we to believe that it just only happens to spit things out while they are there? And if so, why the need to be around all the time?
If we step back just a minute, like obviously these girls didn't initiate this. Somehow this wall has built an entire like organization around itself. It's got like agents, like the big attention duelist man. He was given the task to go and like recruit these girls somehow. What does the wall want? What are its goals? How is it achieved? How did it do all this stuff? I mean, is there a man in the wall? I don't know. I don't want there to be.
The way this show is presented, like, it could be like a Cubey. Like, it could...
I feel like it's like...
It seems like it could be evil,
right?
right?
Some Lovecraft shit is going on with this fucking wall. It's incredible.
I was thinking, like, this shitty production committee was like, okay, Idols show, Madoka, that's it. And then they're like, no...
It does feel like that.
I was like, what the fuck is going on the entire time?
I mean, let's not forget. Let's just revisit. This is a real idol group in real life, and they're constructing this like weird Cthulhu mythos about the fucking wall, giving like alien instructions. Like, what is this coming from?
To me. It's like the most confused, because most idol shows, it's like they're like all the same, basically. Like, it's pretty straightforward. You watch it because they have good character designs. Unless you're a Love Live fan, which I don't understand why you would be one. But, you know, this show, it's like I feel like maybe because they're launching an entirely new idol group and idols are so oversaturated, they're like, okay, we need to do something to be different. We need to,
I got it, guys. The wall.
Stand out from the crowd.
We're betting it all on the wall.
So
Put all my
stupid.
money at the casino on the wall. This premise is going to give us. We're going to go the distance with this one. By the way, did you guys enjoy the 3D dancing animation in the OP and the typical?
I loved it.
That was something. That was something.
That made me so excited for the show.
But guys, we haven't even talked about the actual best element of this episode. Okay. This is, like we said, this is a real idol group, right? This is basically propaganda.
There appear to be 11 members of the idol group,
is that? Okay.
I don't know what's going on. With
maybe,
numbers.
I think there were 8 in the show. I don't know. Maybe only 8 signed on for the show. I don't fucking know. But, like, okay, the best premises, the best part of the show is that like, it's propaganda for this group, obviously. It's to push sales, get people out to push interest, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, like, there's a weird element of predestination going on in this show that the wall has decreed. You will be an 8-man musical group. You will be idols for the wall. The wall has willed it, and you must obey the wall. And like, our main character, who we know is like shy and like maybe traumatized or something, though it appears to be a musician, she's like, you know what, guys, I don't know what this fucking wall is about. I'm shy. I'm not ready for this lifestyle. I'm going to leave. She goes back to her part-time job, and she gets fired because she's not good at customer service. She doesn't know how to smile. She's bad at doing the job. Customers get creeped out. Her coworkers don't enjoy working with her. She's not a great fit for their customer service team. And her boss lays it on the line. He just says, listen, you're not good at this. You might not be cut out for customer service or being in front of crowds or talking to people. And you know what? We go out of our way every day to do things we don't want to do, and we get paid for it. That's called work. And she goes home. She goes home to her family, and she thinks to herself, you know what? Like, this is where I'm meant to be. Not with the idol group, here with my family. But then she gets fired from her job, and she thinks to herself, okay, what are my options now? I know, I'm gonna go join that idol group that's predestined, not because, like, I love this group, like it was a predestined thing, because I need the money. That's why I'm going to join this idol group. It's the most cynical, cold calculation I've ever fucking seen. There's some bullshit about, like, oh, I need to, like, do the hardest thing to grow as a person. No, fuck that. She does it for the money. That's the entire premise of why the main character joins the group. Like, is this who at management thought, like, guys, I've got it. Why do our idols do this job? For the money, not for any, like, they love the fans or, like, they love the music. It's just for the fucking paycheck. Every piece of this is bizarrely constructed to actually be, like, negative propaganda for the group. I don't understand why it was built this way.
The main girl, I hated her so much. Her bangs kept growing and shrinking the entire goddamn time.
That's true.
So at the beginning, it's like half down her face. Then the next scene, it's like Chinibyo, it's like a little bangs. But then it keeps shrinking and growing. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
That was the real issue with the show. That's the
core
main
issue.
one.
That's
that was
the biggest
main
problem with the show. If they fix that, it's a fucking masterpiece. But yeah.
Maybe episode 2 they'll tackle that one.
Maybe episode 2. Anyone else having?
I was just the scene, the shrine in the bottom reminds me of this movie with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino called The Devil's Advocate, where Keanu Reeves meets the literal devil, who's also his dad. Spoilers, and it's Al Pacino, and Al Pacino has this giant, like, literal Satan portrait in, like, this giant loft, where, literally the devil lives and is destroying the world piece by piece to bring the Antichrist into existence. That is exactly what, like, the room feels like at the bottom, where they're just waiting for the wall to tell them what to do. I hope that, like, they fight God or Satan. I don't know. Maybe they are the Antichrist. I guess we'll see. But this is a fascinating tale. I am very curious where it's going to go from here.
I thought this show was a fucking terrible idea. And the producers from A1 Pictures should probably commit seppuku to take responsibility.
Presentation was good. Writing, incomprehensible. Bizarre.
I feel like the presentation was spotty at times. I feel like the character designs are great.
Yeah,
I hated all the characters. I hated the retarded premise. I hated the
wait a minute.
music.
I'm sorry.
The OP
the
was
music
awful,
sucked too.
by the way. The 22/7 song that is the OP is fucking terrible.
Did you guys also enjoy it? All right, like after the main girl leaves or whatever, or maybe right before, like the girls are asking themselves, like, guys, what the fuck is this wall? Like, what are we doing here? One of the girls is like, are you girls stupid? Why would you question the wall? This is your chance to get rich and famous. Like, what are you idiots doing questioning the fucking wall right now? Now, and like that girl's presented as like the savvy, smart one. Like this is like the wise man saying like, guys, don't worry about the details. It's a fucking wall. I think you can trust it.
The show feels like cult propaganda for a cult that doesn't exist.
Exactly. Old, ancient, forgotten creatures from beyond space and time is how this feels.
All right. Let's untangle our minds.
Okay.
And let's get onto the right track in life. All right. Let's do what is destined for us. Who wants to do the incredible honor of introducing Ishuzoku Reviewers?
Masterpiece. I could do it.
Go for it.
Do it, Jack.
It's a fucking amazing show. First off, I just want to say these two brave men. One of them is an elf, a halfling, an elf. And then the other one is a human man. And their duty is to try and fuck and review every type of woman on the goddamn planet. Different monsters, different creatures. It's fucking funny. It's, the uncensored version is great. And the character designs, I like them a lot. It's a fun, etchy comedy.
It's a true entrepreneurial story, if ever there was one. They found a void in the market, and they filled it with their cocks. And it was glorious.
I have to say, Ishuzoku Reviewers is like, I mean, it's a show that you read the premise and you're like, genius. Like, the appeal is, I mean, immediate. You don't.
You said somewhere like this is what he would be doing in this world, and I'm like, yeah, 100%. This is what I would do in this situation.
But I think this manga author. I think the reason that this premise is delivered so well is that this author clearly realized that having this idea was a big dick move.
Yeah.
And so in order to communicate that he was aware of that and that we should all be confident that he would deliver on his big dick move, he made sure that the characters made nothing but big dick moves from that moment forward.
Indeed.
It is a big dick move show. Like, everything that happens, you're like, yes, that's what I wanted. Like, this is what I've been waiting for since Monster Girls were introduced to culture, essentially.
I've read the manga for this, which it adapts quite well. I mean, the manga is much shorter than the anime. The anime adds a ton of like in between materials and stuff because
is it good? Is it to its benefit?
For its benefit, definitely. The manga, the art isn't nearly as strong, and a lot of it, like the way they present the reviews in the manga, it's just a picture of the girl, and then the entire review in text.
I'm actually holding a copy in front of me right now and looking at it.
Which is actually what I'm excited about because I haven't read the manga. We were going to cover the manga for content.
Right, we just got busy with shit.
I love that it's structured like an actual review because it reads like Nintendo Power or Famitsu reviews where they have 4 different scores and I guess it's really a Famitsu review ultimately. Like it's out of 40. But because they have the reviewers are different species, they all have different perspectives, and that was the most interesting, unexpected thing that made it work so well. Because the premise of the show is introduced by our 2 heroes. The human loves to fuck hot elf bitches who are like 500 years old, and the elf guy is like, ew, disgusting, that's a grandma, but he will fuck an 80-year-old human woman. I think she's only like 50, but she looks old as hell. They draw her to be like 50. The most repugnantly old woman imaginable, but to him she's very young because she still has like young life force essentially, and that sense of the life force is what makes a woman attractive on some level. But like all of them, even if they are alien, and like this is like an extreme example of where we're obviously going to feel like the human, the elf is going to feel differently, but then they open up the conversation to all the different species, and when you hear each of them's reasoning, you feel like it's more relatable. It's like, okay, if if I had like a overpowering sense of smell, and for some reason human scent was just way better than elf scent to me, then like, yeah, of course I'd be attracted to that. Like, I can understand why they feel this way, and so it brings so much more depth, and like that's what I love out of reviews, is understanding the perspectives of other people, and it's a great. Obviously, the reviews have to be kind of simplified because you got to keep the story running. They're each like a paragraph long, but they give a really strong, like, holistic sense of what the experience was like for this character. And I mean, how long do you need to go on about fucking,
Yep.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate the way everything is handled, because, like, I mean, I've read a couple of the works by the mangaka, or rather the author, since he didn't do the art for the manga of this. And a lot of his stories are like really high concept, like edgy stories, where it's like the concept is the like some sort of play that allows a lot of potential for different, like, exploring different things. And there's so much care taken, because, like, the premise in itself is inherently appealing. Like, anybody would want to watch this because of the premise, but then the way it goes into it is treated with such a sense of new, like, you can tell this guy cares about the lore, and that it like really exploring every single possible, like, interest. Like, I'm sure not everything depicted in this is to the author's personal taste, but that's what makes it, I think that's what makes it especially interesting, because a lot of these types of shows, it's like, oh, if this doesn't appeal to me personally, then I don't care. But this show presents it so entertainingly and with so much nuance and with such a great, like, sense of comedy, that it's interesting, like, no matter how much you care about whatever particular monster is on display.
I think this show also, to some degree, is designed to confuse your dick, because, like you said, it's not just that he's going into so much detail about, like, the lore and the characters, but, like, in a design sense, he will draw very different body types, and, like, it's like, it's not about usually artists, you can tell what their fetishes are, like, if I'm going to follow somebody's work over the years, it's probably because they draw a certain type of character I like. In this, there are some characters I'm extremely attracted to, many more that I'm not at all attracted to. There's tons of just, like, gigantic fucking tits falling all over the place that I'm not into. But I mean, by using the old lady at the start of the show, they basically, like, forewarn you of this. Like, look, the point of this is not that you are going to want to masturbate to every girl. It's to review the girls. Like, let's find out the unexpected reasons that you would be attracted to this girl. Like, and, the harpy at the end, like, she's hot in and of herself, probably not, like, the exact body type I would first seek out to fap to, but when they describe what is erotic about having sex with this harpy, it amplifies it. You end up getting drawn in beyond just the design. You are drawn into the narrative of the creature, and so it tests you to maybe end up being attracted to things that you didn't think you would be, and to which is what reviews should do. Indeed. That's the point, is to introduce you to new things you might not have considered. Oh, I never thought I'd go to the harpy brothel, but now that I know about the cloaca, I fucking gotta go,
Indeed.
So, and
go on.
The thing about it as well is that it communicates so perfectly the place that all this Monster Girl shit came from, because you guys probably all remember, just judging by your personalities on this podcast, the My Life with a Monster Girl comics, right?
Of course.
So these were these one-page comics where it would be a different Monster Girl, basically just exploring what is unique about the sexual experience with this particular Monster Girl, using, like, the same character in every comic. They were supposed to be, like, all brothers, but they have, like, the Officer Jenny thing going on. Yeah. They all look the same, and they all have different Monster Girl brides or whatever. But like, from that wellspring, we started getting things like Monsterpedia, or Monster Girlpedia or whatever, and then, like, Monster Girl Pokemon and Monster Girl, like, all these Monster Girl games.
Monster
and just,
Girl
like,
Quest, perhaps most famously.
Yeah, and then at some point, Monster Musume, like, brought it to the mainstream, I think, and was just, like, a huge success. And then all of a sudden, just, like, you go to Barnes & Noble, and there's a fuck ton of Monster Girl manga and Monster Girl light novels, and, like, most of them, they all want to include as many as possible, because that original source material is basically just, again, encyclopedia entries in one-page comics. Like, we're just interested in exploring like if these monster girls, like, you know, what is their habitat, what is their life like, so that if our wife was a monster girl, what would it be like to live with her, you know, or to fuck her? And this show fixates on the sex and just goes like, we're gonna go all in depth, we're gonna tell you exactly what it's like to fuck every monster girl. And so now when you go to any other porn, any other comic, any other monster girl series, you know these facts. You now know what it's like to fuck Mia when you go to watch Monster Musume, because they told you in Ishuzoku, and they gave you a bunch of perspective ideas.
Education,
you know, like,
dude.
Yeah.
They bring you more perspectives. They give you like angles you wouldn't have thought about it from. Very clever, very well done.
I was just truly astounded, you know, looking through, when I first got the book in the mail, I thought it looked cool. I thumbed through it, I was like, oh, this is obviously porn, and was then disappointed to see it wasn't. And I was like, oh, like, you know, softcore porn, or basically, I never get into that stuff, don't really care. Maybe I'll pick it up and read it sometime. Even though, like the Harpy Girl was the most immediately charming design in the whole thing, and I love all the art by I don't know, Masha, apparently, I don't know. But, like, I love the art. I was thinking to myself, like, okay, how much do I really give a shit about, like, a softcore porn experience? But upon watching the show for this, as you guys have been saying, but just to state my own words, like, I was so unprepared for, like, this complete other element of the show, which is this actual pure, deep, rich, analytical element that I did not anticipate being there, and was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And was absolutely fast. And, like, the fact that, like, I basically, as, like, a YouTuber, I do the same job as these guys, just reviewing, like, different shit. And I find it so fucking relatable.
That's what I tweeted about the show. Like, this is the first fantasy show that not only takes place in the most ideal fantasy world imaginable. Yeah. It's like every type of fantasy pussy is here, and brothels are everywhere and are super encouraged. So basically, this is just a world where you fuck monster
do you love their
girls.
explanation? That's like, oh, every one of these girls, oh, it's okay, guys. They've got a little bit of succubus in them. Just a little bit of succubus. I love
just
it.
a little bit.
Love it.
But
even the humans.
Not only is the setting like perfect, but this is the job I would want to have in this setting. As a reviewer, like what could be better to review than this? Like, this is the ultimate.
I thought
and
this
the fact
was going to
that
be,
they have a career out of it is just magical.
No, and I love how like there's almost like a lovable community aspect about like how everybody gathers around the tavern as like a big like
so
friend
good.
bro out about like, oh yeah, the new review's up, guys. Let's like talk about it. And, like, I love every element of this experience of these fucking guys broing out and talking about this shit. And, like, I don't know, the fact that they go fuck, like, a bird lady, and then the bird lady, maid is like, oh, it's so bad. Like, there's so much community going on here. It's unbelievably actually wholesome, and I absolutely loved it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be some, like, bullshit softcore porn. But no, was totally blown away.
Also, the main characters have the perfect personality to pull off a show like this. There's, like, they're almost like a stoner comedy duo or something.
Yeah.
They're big coomers, obviously.
No doubt.
They both have the face of a man who comes too much. If you don't know what I mean,
brain dead look in their eyes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you don't know what I mean, go watch one of my videos where you can see my eyes. But they have that super squinty-eyed, just like, you know, laid back, don't really give a fuck about anything, and will just say whatever.
I mean,
but they're just chilled out, man.
The main guy's name is
Stunk.
His name is Stunk. That's just the most perfect thing imaginable.
And I like everything they do. They're so pure-hearted too. Their goals, like, they get a bunch of money from their reviews. What are they invested in? We're gonna go find a new chick to write a review. We're gonna go have sex with a new species, get a new thing to review. And then, like, you I don't know. What was the other thing? Like, they meet an angel. They save his life or whatever. And they're like, what are you gonna give us as a prize? We're gonna go find angel bitches. We're gonna fuck them. Hell, we might even get to fuck God. We'll do whatever it takes, man. We're gonna go high. We got high goals here. So great. What personality in these guys. Absolutely love
it. I just love the idea that all angels are fudas. That is just like the funniest thing to me.
I've seen that a few times.
I'm wondering if, like, there's sort of a question that's left in the background of the show of whether that will be disappointing to them, because the angel
will they want
tells,
to fuck
like,
the angel or not? It's
right, because
they
they both. this was an interesting scene because I was told before the show that the angel is I was hinted that they were a boy, but they're actually a hermaphrodite. But the angel introduces themselves as a boy to them, and they had already thought so. They did not need to even be told. Neither of them assumed this was a girl because that's how fucking good they are at their jobs.
Indeed.
So they're both like, "Oh, you're a boy, right? Surely you fuck tons of angel bitches." And he's like, yeah, totally. And then they immediately take him to lose virginity, which is fucking hilarious and great. The ultimate bro move. It's exactly what I would have done in that world, in that situation. But, so he's like, well, I better not tell them that I have a pussy as well because I don't know what they'll do. Will they want to fuck me or not? I don't know. But, they assume that when they go to heaven, there'll be all these angels. But if they're all hermaphrodites, then if they don't want to fuck, because, maybe they already know that he's a hermaphrodite, and they've just oh, well, you have a dick, so you're, we're not going to think of you as a woman.
How confident are these men in their sexuality is the question, I suppose. Are they
I
willing
feel
to
like
roll
they're
the
very confident.
dice?
I mean, personally, I would definitely fuck the angel. I think that
Same.
I don't care about the dick being there. There's a pussy. And
I would have to meditate on it, I think. But I think they would go for it.
Me too.
Deep
I have to consult with
introspection.
God, man. See how he's feeling about this. Who conveniently is going to be right there when I meet the angel, so it'll be an easy conversation to have.
Yeah. I mean, God assumably will also have a dick and cunt, so
Very likely.
The perfect being.
I mean, well, I guess this is just a resoundingly favorable impression from all of us, I guess. If you don't like titties, then you're not going to like this. If you don't like sex, it's not for
this
you.
Show
but
is, I think this one goes to a point where it's so obvious that you're not going to like it if you're not, that there's no even need. If you're
you're
not.
right.
If the concept of this offends you, if you look at the thumbnail and you see nothing but tits and you go, "Oh, I don't watch these kinds of shows," then you don't belong.
Bro, dude,
here.
Oh, I'm so excited for all the moral police to get up in a tizzy about this one,
boy.
especially with certain events that happen later on in this story.
Yeah, well,
Excellent.
I suppose it
can't
can
wait.
happen in worlds like this. There's so many silly things, but I just love some of the jokes. Later on when they fuck the bird girl, I was shocked. The Lamia guy who was with him was like, they literally didn't let me because I'm a fucking Lamia, and he still gave her a 3. I thought that was extremely generous of him to still give her a 3. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. And I don't know, what do they say? They're like, oh man, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna take a load off, and they're like, hey bro, you mean maybe unleash a load? Hell yeah, bro. Fucking high fives.
There's so much of that.
So much of those double entendre jokes. Incredible. What a wonderful
By the
experience.
way, I mean, just a shout out to Studio Passion who animated this, because it looks great, and everything else they've done is garbage. So
Really?
this is
Yeah,
the
I was
first.
looking at
You can
Great
really
work.
tell this is a passion. Mind the pun. A passion project.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody working on this had to be if I was an animator and I had the opportunity to work on a project like this, this is the dream. This is
Absolutely.
you would. It's one of those shows where there's certain shows that you can tell, since most anime are working with a pretty similar budget and similar staffing, that some shows they pull in the passion, and this is a premise that really does it.
Seems that way to me.
Yep. Final thought: make sure you watch the Taiwanese uncensored version. They actually show pussy in that version.
Really? I had no idea.
yes.
That's fascinating. I did not see
I
it.
unfortunately found out about that after I'd already seen it, which is tragic.
Bizarre.
Well, I mean, obviously you're
Rewatch.
going to watch it again. So.
Rewatch. Tonight.
Many
Rewatch
times.
tonight. All right.
I'll
good.
introduce this next one.
Okay.
RikeKoi ni ochita no de shoumei shite mita, or with the worst sounding English name of all time. Oh, actually, it's not listed on here. Never mind. I think they
it's really
translated
bad.
it to
it was science fell in love, so I tried to prove it. That's what they give
that is
in the show.
Shittiest
Yeah, I read
fucking
that.
title. But RikeKoi is what seems to be the short version.
I thought this anime adaptation of Big Bang Theory was pretty good, personally.
Yeah, well, the conceit of
That's
this
a great-
show is two scientists fall in love. They are both obsessed with science and proving things mathematically, and so hilarity ensues. That's literally it.
I think hilarity is a bit of a stretch there. Dude. Being a bit terrible.
I thought the show was great. I loved it.
Great.
I enjoyed it all
Oh,
the way.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I made it
had a good
5
time.
minutes in.
Maybe I jumped the gun a
okay.
little bit, but I just started skipping around because this. I mean, it was like science, man. Fuck yeah, equations and shit.
I feel
hell
I feel
yeah,
like
dude.
if you don't like the initial premise and joke, I don't know if you can like the surrounding jokes.
Let me say first of all, this show is definitely like normcore shit.
Yes.
This, by the way, has already had a live action show and movie based on the same manga. So this is like, this is the kind of show that could just as easily be done in live action. It's just pretty characters having dialogue. But like, this is okay. I guess this is a unique kind of humor, and I kind of wasn't surprised when I watched this that I was like, this is a show I'm going to think is funny and nobody else is. But, like, part of the joke is just that the character designs are really, like, attractive and over-designed. They both have, like, these big flowing, like, lab coats, and they just look like these, like, ridiculous, like, the absolute perfect idea of a sexy scientist, basically.
Sure.
Like, like a sexy TV scientist. Like, they're meant to look like some kind of J-drama, almost. And, like, they're so fastidious and so serious. They're just the perfect scientists. So like when the topic of love comes up as something that can't be quantified, it just completely breaks their minds. Like they cannot process it. But like the thing is that the girl, she basically is fine with that and just ready to give into it. She's just like, look, I'm in love with you. I like, let's pursue a relationship, basically. But he is the one who's like, well, like, how can we know it's really love unless we can prove it? Let's go and experiment. And basically, she's just down for that because it means that she gets to spend time with him all the time. So, from her perspective, none of this really matters. Like, she's getting excited and she's having fun because, obviously, this is why she connects with this guy so much. They like doing the same things. They both have the same personality. Like, they're meant for each other. They already are a couple. Yeah. They might as well be married. There's almost no difference between them, except that she is more playing into this game because it's a way to spend time with him, whereas he is more like running away from having to, confront something that he can't quantify, emotionally and have to like admit that he's in love. Well, instead he'd rather run into these experiments. Now, granted, that is the only joke in this show.
That's correct.
I'm charmed by the characters and just how, like, cutesy their attraction is because most shows like this, there's either one character who doesn't like the other one or they're in denial or something like that. Both of these characters almost immediately seem to completely realize that they are, in fact, in love with one another based on how they understand the concept of love. They just can't accept it without, like, clarifying what that is.
Well, that's true. There was one element I found, a little off-putting about that, which was just that, like, there are conversations where, like, the girl basically says to the guy, she's like, look, like, Mr. Science Man or whatever, like, I think I like you, but I'm not sure I actually love... Like, they're actually discussing, like, frankly, like, I think I love you, but I can't prove it, and I don't know. And I was like, ooh, this is, like, a little strange, the way that they're handling this. It's like... I don't know. Maybe I'm a guy who doesn't mind discussing concepts like this with people, but like to put it that frank, like I don't know if I like you or love you or whatever. It was like almost degrading to the relationship slightly in the way it was being phrased, I guess. I took it as just
that she's trying to say like, I think I'm in love with you, but like because the word love has no like how could I empirically show that to you? I have no idea,
Yeah.
And so that's the whole quest is to empirically determine what love is, but you know
the reason why this show didn't work for me, Digi? It's because when the first time I said I love you to my girlfriend, we defined love beforehand, and then we established what it was. If they just did that, they could have avoided this entire fucking problem. Yeah.
The problem is though that you are not as like you think that it's fine as long as there is a a
Yeah.
But you don't care about how that definition was reached.
It's all word games anyway.
Not in science. Science is all number games. It has to be proven empirically in data.
Okay,
That's
well, this is the other thing about this premise that always annoys me. Like, it's that these science guys, they're like, oh, obviously they're doing, this is like why I call it like a Big Bang Theory thing. They're like applying science to like love. Like, ooh, what even, like your nerd science can't define our love. That's like outside the realm. It's mystical. But look, like there's so many we know what causes love. It's like a biological impulse to breed. It's pair bonding. Like, no, we know
it's
so
definitely
much.
Dumb. I mean, like the fact that like one of the big gimmicks in the episode is that he's like doing he puts his hand against the wall right next to her head, and that makes her heart beat faster. So they start trying to like extensively test this to figure out like the consistency of it, and eventually, of course, her heart stops beating faster when he does it because it just looks like he's just beating his hands against the wall. But then the fact that they then, in order to understand why this would make her heart slow down, they do not come to the actual scientific conclusion of that, like, it's just not exciting anymore, which the assistant character, who just intuitively understands all this stuff because she's a more emotional thinker, she's just like, oh, well, obviously it's not going to be appealing anymore. But because they are looking at the data and they're like interpreting the exact movement that he made rather than the context of that he made so many movements, she concludes that it's because he looks like a sumo wrestler doing this particular move, and that's why it wasn't attractive. So it's like, that's the humor is in like, the setup is like, oh, well, science already does have a reason for this, but if you're not looking at it from the right perspective, you make different assumptions about the data, which is why you have to continue testing, because they're like, oh, well, we can't just rest on that assumption. Clearly, we need more data. They're always going to need more data.
As a gimmick of like a comedy show, basically, in which that's the premise, which this is, frankly, that works pretty well, I suppose, when you view it that way. Although there was one element I legitimately liked, which was, okay, it was a little silly. Thank God they lampshaded it, or lampshade hung it, or whatever the term is, where there's a flashback to like, there's a boy who I might be like even more than you. And like clearly in the flashback, as always fucking happens, it was in fact that guy who like helped her get over her childhood issue. And the other person into it was like, that was obviously him, you dumb bitch. Like, stop, just be married already. But what I enjoyed about that particularly was the specific thing that he helped her with was like, still they used their science and they analyzed. Like, she loved bugs. She would race pill bugs and put them in mazes and stuff. They called her like bug girl and said she was creepy and stuff. And he just comes along and he's like, your passion for pill bugs is fine and all. I don't think that's the core issue. I think it's the things around your like enjoyment and experimentation with pill bugs. Specifically, it's that like you are in fact gross and like dirty, and nobody likes that, and you probably smell weird too. So you need to work on those things. And like obviously that was she just hadn't thought of that.
And that's how she became hot.
And then
so she created her hotness. I didn't even fucking realize
this is one of the big revelations that every person on the fucking planet needs to wake up and realize. It's that your life will be 1,000 times better if you just put in like 20 minutes a day into improving your appearance and like working out and stuff like that. Your life will change if you're like a gross, ugly weirdo, and you just put a little bit of effort in every day, just like she did, and you can be like a classy, beautiful lady. I'm just like, it doesn't solve all your problems, but it does help quite a few of them in social situations. So be like her and do it. So that was a good part. I enjoyed that significantly. Yep, but that's about it for me.
It's really interesting that they actually justify why the scientists are attractive to some extent.
I really like that they included that for her.
World in that way.
I always wonder like, oh, why is this like science nerd girl like so hot? She, like if they make her like autistic and weird and like not together in any other aspect of her life, it bothers me that like when they make her so hot, or at least I notice it. But in this, there's a real reason, and it was scientifically deduced, and I always think about this shit. So I really resonated with that one moment.
Okay, well, it sounds like the other two of you don't want to talk about the show at all.
Yeah, I think comparing it to The Big Bang Theory was incredible. I think that's a very
definitely
same show basically.
Same show, yeah.
Was not a fan.
But no Penny. We're losing our X. I guess
that
the assistant is the Penny of the show. Basically, she's the normal one.
Yeah,
did you guys personally like retarded otaku character number 8,247? Lol, got him.
I don't think I got to that part.
I clapped.
Yeah,
I clapped when he was an incel like me. Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah, I tend to just easily enjoy any like cutesy romantic comedy shows. Like, I just, anytime there's like, I like to see adorable couples in anime. Like ones where just their interactions are just like pleasant and enjoyable, and like Danaga Nani or something.
Sure.
This gave me some of that, in that, in spite of the fact that they're not literally a couple, they are not performing any differently than as though they were. Like, they are literally just doing couple activities together, under the pretense that they're trying to prove that they should be a couple. So, I enjoyed it. But I did not enjoy the next show, so somebody else can fucking introduce Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga.
All right. I'll give this one a go.
All right.
So, this show... Hold on, I think my Audacity just stopped recording. Okay, no it isn't. Okay, I was a little worried for a second. I was looking at it, I was like, didn't see the line moving, but I was just zoomed out too much. Okay, Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga. Why do we need a new show, like 8 new shows about Nobunaga every single year? This one, the premise is Nobunaga is reincarnated as a dog, and also a bunch of the other dogs are also, different warlords. And that's the show.
That's it.
It's
comedy.
That's the joke.
It's hideous. It's unfunny. The girl is genuinely, I think, the worst character design that I have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It loves shoving the dog's anus in your face for God knows why.
It does. Japan finds that really funny for some reason.
It is not funny at all. It's painful to watch.
I think it's the same problem I had with the previous show. It's just like the central joke of having Nobunaga and these warlords as dogs I do not find funny, and that's like the entire premise of the show, and I was just kind of like,
maybe I just like this a little more because I just kept thinking about them as their forms from Sengoku Rants, which I really like. So it was like, haha, I remember when Kenshin fought.
You're a part of the
that
problem.
was fun.
You are.
Line them up and gun them down,
Granted,
boys.
Nate, I don't think that you have seen nearly as many of these.
Probably.
Since you have not been on the seasonal grind for as long as I have.
That's
but
true.
There literally are like reincarnation of Nobunaga into a different form shows almost every season.
Jesus Christ.
And they're all dog shit. They all just rely on the recognition of the characters. I mean, the dialogue in this show is just characters like announcing who they are or reiterating that they are indeed Oda Nobunaga as a Shiba
seeing
Inu.
Takeda, I remember how big he was in Sengoku Rants as a little Pomeranian. Haha.
I remember how big he was in Sengoku Basara.
There you go. And,
like,
and at the end of the anime, there's like real dogs in the ED. Hey, that's cute.
Oh my god, you
Dogs.
watched this whole episode?
I did consume the whole episode. I did.
Oh my god, dude. I literally did not make it 3 fucking minutes into this.
Fascinating.
Okay, first of all, this was the show I expected to hate the most on the surface because I thought, first of all, Nobunaga shows are terrible.
Sure.
And second of all, I hate dogs. And
right.
sometimes you look at a show and you think, okay, this has a lot of dogs in it, but it's not about dogs. This show, I took one look at it and I said, this is only going to be about the cuteness of dogs. Like the conceit of the show will be dogs are cute.
They're not.
No, they're
even
hideous
cute.
monstrosities.
They're not great.
But like,
they're not great.
They're a way that Japan thinks dogs are cute, I think. And I don't even think dogs are cute in the first place. So like this show is actively repugnant and repulsive. I mean, like you said, they literally shove his ass in your face, and all of his dialogue is, "Oh, I can't believe I'm Oda Nobunaga.
What the fuck, dude? How is that even happening right now?" That's
Okay,
like every element has to be exclaimed about. It's like they mention his name, and he's like, "Oh, how could Nobunaga have a name like Snowball? Like, oh, I'm Nobunaga, but I'm a Shiba Inu. Why'd it have to be a cute dog instead of a tough dog?"
Yeah.
It's just, he's not even like Shiba Inu is actually a cute dog, and they did not make him cute. Like that's they took the one dog that's cute and made it uncute. How do you do that?
Okay, I also want to say I don't really understand. Even the premise itself doesn't really make sense because the whole point is like, okay, he dies and then he gets reincarnated as a dog.
Well, the wheel of Buddha
Except
turns.
he gets reincarnated as a mature dog, a fully grown dog.
We can assume he lived a life of dogness up to this point.
I think the implication was meant to be that just he once more, as every day, woke up in a screaming fit about being reincarnated as a dog.
I still
and then he goes on this narrative every day.
Yeah, he's used
But
to it.
he seems so confused about the fact that he is a dog, and I'm like,
I mean, yeah.
You've been living this life presumably for at least a good year or so, judging based on
the
their
audience.
size.
Come on, you know
It's
that.
stupid on top of already stupid. I hate
Sure.
everything about this. It makes me want to throw up just looking at it. I hope it is. I hope this is one of the things that society forgets about.
It will.
And all
It
copies of it are burned, and this show is never salvaged.
I don't
But the
find
dog's name is Cinnamon. Haha. What?
Yeah, Cinnamon. That's adorable. That's hilarious. We can move on.
No
We stated
more.
our case.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Runway de Waratte. Does anybody want to talk about this, or should I do it?
I'll say what it's about.
All right.
This
Go
is
for it, Noah.
straight up. This is an anime. It's like a shoujo, pretty much, about a pretty girl who wants to be a model, and she says right at the beginning, "This is the story of how I became a top model." Flashback, 10 years in the past. She's a tall girl in her class. Her dad conveniently owns a modeling agency or a fashion company or whatever. She's gonna go to Paris, gonna be a model. She's tall for her class. It is very emphatically stated you have to be tall to be a model, and cut to a few years later, she stopped growing. She is short, bros. She's too short. What is it? Womanlets of the world, you need to rise up and oppose the hegemony of the tall bitches. Anyway, this is her story as a tall girl, coping with her short life, or as a short girl, coping with the fact that she is being rejected. She was fired from her company. Straight up fucking fired. We have no positions for you if you're just too short, even though she's really hot and perfectly capable and really good at this. She's got all the qualifications. She's just too short. And I mean, that definitely is a thing that a runway model has to be. I have some knowledge of these things. But there's tons of work you can do as a model that just isn't being that tall. So I don't know why she was fired. Doesn't matter. The point is, she keeps trying. She keeps reapplying every day. They're like, you're too small. You continue to be too small. You are still, yet again, too small. Stop applying for this company to get into here. She's starting to be beaten down. But she conveniently meets at school a guy who's really good at sewing things. He conveniently makes her a bunch of really fashionable clothes. And then suddenly, with the existence of these clothes, these very fashionable clothes that she wears to her audition, 10 billion or whatever, they suddenly say, wait, you're wearing those clothes? Maybe you do have a chance of being a model after all. What chance? I don't know what
She
changed.
saw the glimpse. The 1%
A 1%
chance
chance.
Well, okay, so I think part of the implication here, because they're basically saying there's never been a model who is this short, who is on the runway.
Yeah.
So we don't think it's possible. And we're going to act on the assumption that it's impossible because you are not giving us any reason to believe it would be possible, because she's just wearing the same outfits that taller women could wear. And it's well, why would we choose you to wear that if a taller woman could wear that? But when she comes in with something that is just specifically designed for her, and this, it's obvious when you see all the stripes and everything. If you know about what stripes do, they make you look taller. This outfit is designed around the fact that she's short, so a tall woman wouldn't look better in this
I noticed
outfit.
that her sleeves are way longer than her arms and stuff. Maybe that's all part of it too. If this outfit is something that is desirable, but it only looks good on short girls, then only a short girl can promote it. And the fact that it just so happens in the most hilarious way to get the ball rolling possible, but I thought was really great. On her way to the audition, she happens to get stopped and photographed by some fashion Instagram
magazine. She
poster or
lies
whatever.
and says that it's from her dad's company. It gets posted in a magazine, and some famous model, I guess, who has 4 million Twitter followers, takes a picture of it out of the magazine. Is I like this. Instantly, it's a runaway hit. Everybody's calling them, asking for the outfit. They, of course, now have to hire the kid who designed it. And hey, now we got our fucking dual protagonists.
Yep.
And that's my favorite thing about this show is the double protagonist setup, because it's being a runway model is essentially just being hot and not fucking up to some extent.
More or less, yeah.
We've seen Project Runway. There's a little bit more to it, but it doesn't take decades of training to be good at. The sewing kid and her dad, there's a great scene where she and her friend from school are sitting in front of her dad as he proposes to him to come work for the company, and he straight up says in front of her face to the friend The designers are the real stars of
Indeed.
the fashion world.
Indeed.
You are much more important
They're the
than
brains
any
of the
model.
industry. Yeah.
Your design is so good that like you are going to be like incredibly important. You know, she is fucking totally disposable, but you are a god.
You know, I have some unique insight into this because my girlfriend literally is a model. And the thing is, she had looked into doing runway theoretically, but she was too short. This is the main problem. She was also too short for doing this. And like, okay, it is stressed many times throughout this episode, specifically that like it's not about the model. It is about the clothes. The model simply exists. This is why they're so interchangeable, and designers are way more important and probably make more money and blah blah blah. Because all we need is a frame, is a hanger to wear these clothes on the runway. This is why they're a very specific size and type and height and all that stuff. So like I'm confused and a little bewildered by. Look, we state so clearly over and over, it's not about the model. The model exists to showcase
Nate,
clothes.
I'm going to explain it to you, all right? I'm just going to cut you off and go right to the explanation of what you're asking.
Sure.
Because this is a major problem I have with this and this whole type of show, the underdog narrative.
Right.
Because underdogs in real life, in like sports, let's say, right? It's somebody who, based on their stats, they shouldn't win. Based on who they like, how they look, they shouldn't win, but they do. Now, the thing about the underdog narrative, the trick of it is the fact that they win means they were never really an underdog, right? It means that they always had the ability to win.
Just due to unpredictable factors, like gumption or something.
Right. It's or just, you know, we haven't seen them enough, or they've changed recently and we didn't know. But like, it looks like an underdog, but it's never really an underdog. But when you, at least in real life, there is, I understand the excitement of rooting for an underdog because you connect to them, you want to root for them. But in fiction, it's way harder for me to buy an underdog narrative because you're just creating it. Like, you are creating a circumstance in which they can't win and then breaking the rules and allowing them to win.
Right.
And that's always what you're doing. If all the rules of the narrative say she can't be a model, then the way she becomes a model is by breaking that rule. And there's nothing impressive about a character doing that in a story where the author has full control over reality. Like,
right. If like what the show eventually does is like change the system in some fundamental way, like that I can get down with. But like, just think about it practically. Designers all across the world for this like Paris runway thing, like the reason why there's a height requirement is because those designers want to design for one particular size. They don't want to have to worry about resizing things. That's why they're like, sorry ladies, if you're short or built weird, that's just how it goes. Hey, I'm not a woman. I'm destined to never be a runway model for women's clothes. It's just the roll of the dice. Bad luck for me, I guess. And I always wanted to do it, and here I am, cucked for life.
Okay, so, a show about a dude becoming a women's runway model.
Now that's progressive.
That would be
that's progressive. We could get there,
underdog
boys.
story that I would want to watch.
And you know what? And it just, maybe this is a little personal, but like when I see a show that's about a model overcoming the fact that she's too short, and literally my girlfriend was denied this exact thing and never will be able to do it for these exact issues. I mean, just another reason I'm like, that seems a little uninteresting to me. Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen.
The way the premise is established is kind of just, I mean, it's stupid, right? It's like they need to arbitrarily create some sort of conflict to be overcome, because otherwise there's literally no sense of tension. And I overall found the first episode pretty slow. I mean, generally I'm into this cheesy shoujo stuff. I'm a fan of that, the tropes and all. This one, it really felt like it was just taking its sweet time getting the ball rolling. But I am somewhat interested in seeing like where it goes from here, because like I was going into the show, I was like, okay, we're gonna see this cute girl in cute outfits. We're gonna get to see lots of cool cute outfits. We saw one cool outfit in this entire 24-minute episode.
True. One
single cute outfit, and it was like at the end of the episode. So I'm hoping like the later episodes, this isn't like gonna be what the show is.
By the way, I don't think so, because this is actually based on a Shounen manga that runs in Shounen magazine.
Yeah. Really?
alongside Fairy Tail and Seven Deadly Sins.
Okay,
and,
now
like,
that
Oh, it's in like Shounen. Really?
Maybe
It's in
that is-
maybe the
Shonen
guy
magazine,
is going to be
yeah.
like the real lead or something. I don't know.
that is
I don't know.
fascinating. That is fascinating.
Well, I mean, they did kind
It'll-
of position it like it's more about the guy in a way.
At the
in
end,
that
I thought
he
it was an
is-
actual
like
switch.
Fairy
Like
Tail,
she's
yeah.
stepping back permanently, and he is stepping forward permanently as the main character. I wasn't sure if that's what they were getting for, but
I
if
felt
it's-
it was more that they're just meant to both be like completely equal as main
Yeah,
characters.
yeah.
Like I really
At the
felt
end, it
like
kind of
having
implied
that.
that.
Yeah, it kind of like in Precure seasons. There's usually like we are first introduced to one Precure, but we're immediately introduced to the second one in that episode, and then like so like from that point onward, it's clear that okay, they're both equally important. We just had to tell one story before we could tell the other. And I think I think they were really trying to drill that in with the the ending part where like character switches between the two of them. Like a character select screen or something.
I have one final point about the show, which was just like my thing before about like it's I can't buy into her just like overcoming this particular problem because it's so regimented. Maybe she'll change the system and we should do so in real life. I don't know. I don't understand things to that degree. Maybe it is arbitrary. But like if I was writing this, like the way that I would take the story is instead of her current goal is so specific. She's like, I have to do this one thing of be a part of this one company and achieve this very specific thing of like this one Paris runway show. What I think is just like a better message if I was writing this would be like to change the goal, which I think is more healthy too, of like, okay, this one thing is unobtainable based on like the way life is. So instead, just be like the biggest model in the world, just not in this one tiny specific narrow venue. Just like show the world how amazing you can be with like your shorter statue. That's probably like models are tall. That is not the average height. She's probably like average or something. So just like do that instead. To me that would make more sense. Instead, it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, prove her father's studio wrong. I think that was
something
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, literally in
Incidentally-
this show, she has opportunities to do other modeling jobs.
she signs up to
She's
another
just set on
agency.
this one thing.
like a major one.
Exactly. That's and I was like, oh, that's the way it's going to go. But no, she's stuck in her ways, and I know she's going to be rewarded for it. But in real life, I think that's inflexible thinking, and you should think bigger. Think wider.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, maybe it would be possible in real life that if a short model was just wearing clothes that were so iconic and she was so good in them and was so that maybe they would rewrite the rules. But if that happens in the show, we have to then accept that translated into reality, these are the dresses that did the job.
Yeah.
We could literally test if this was possible. We could have these dresses designed in real life, put them on 5'2" models, and try to run them on Fashion Week. And I don't think it would happen.
Yeah.
So it's just inevitably going to make you feel like, okay, well, this is a fucking fantasy that doesn't make sense.
Yep. Not everything in life is literally for everybody. I don't know.
Well, this episode, I thought was okay. It has interesting elements.
Yeah.
You could tell there's some energy in the directing. The use of music is kind of interesting. Builds a lot of hype.
It's weird, like dubstep. Like at the
there's
beginning.
it's EDM.
It was
music,
throwing me.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was like, what's going on here? But it kind of changes over time of the episode, which was
I do just really hope that it goes more in depth into the clothing, because that's what's interesting. That's what I'm interested in, at least, and why I wanted to check it out is specifically the element of clothing. That's
what
always
Project Runway's
enjoyable.
about. So I don't know. I feel like
That's true.
Focus more on that.
I'll tell you right now, though,
aspect.
I am checked out. I'm not watching anymore.
Incidentally, this show is from the same director who did Happy Sugar Life and My Girlfriend is a Faithful Virgin Bitch. So
Oh,
Sick.
Oh, two incredible shows.
that gives me less incentive to watch it. All right.
I'll definitely watch at least another episode of that, but I
feel the
will
same.
make more decisions afterwards. Oh God, what did I do? I closed out of the Mal chart, so I don't know what the next show is.
Next is Inspector, or Kyoko Suiri.
Oh yeah, in/Spectre as it's written in the English manga. Does anybody want to introduce this one in particular? Anybody read this manga?
I skipped this one. I didn't have time.
I read.
Oh, really?
I read the first chapter of the manga. Though maybe someone who liked it more should introduce it.
I could introduce it, I guess.
Do it, Jack. Take it.
Go for it.
So there's this 17-year-old girl. Her name's Kotoko from this mouth chart. She hangs around this hospital because she was kidnapped at a young age and was turned into this sort of god of wisdom by these weird creatures. And she is in love with this other character. Forgot his name. But he is feared by all of these creatures that worship this girl. And it's about this kind of relationship, and they fight like these yokai in the world. A lot of exposition, but I thought it was really interesting.
I see a purple-haired girl with huge titties. That's interesting.
I don't know what the deal with that is, actually. I don't remember that being in there.
We didn't see that yet, but it's mainly about these two. I really enjoyed this one, actually. I liked the presentation of how they established both these characters early on. I like the main character a lot, especially when she's like so blunt about how in love with
goddamn cute. Fuck.
Oh, she's so fucking cute. Dude.
She's like one of the cutest girls of the season, and probably my favorite. Probably my favorite character of the season.
You know,
so far,
I'll just damn, I feel bad.
personality.
I'll just say I ran out of time, so I didn't get to watch this, but I did just thumb through it, and I was like, "Ooh, this actually looks cute. I wish I had time to watch this one before we had to record."
Yeah,
but.
No, it's really entertaining too.
Yeah.
It's clearly like an action spectacle kind of thing. By the way, I'm concerned because this is animated by Brainspace. They have not done anything good in a long fucking time. They used to be great. This show looked like old Brainspace, like the strong character artwork, which used to be like their staple. Clean looking action. Granted, most of the episode is like literally a fucking like 14-minute conversation outside of this hospital, just like framed, with breaks into memories and stuff like that. But just in spite of the fact that it was this just like essentially exposition dump, the girl just has such a distinct personality that like she's aggressive with her feelings. She's like very direct. She basically lets the guy know that she likes him right away. I mean, she's been like observing him for a while, but like the first time that she speaks up, it's like, hey, I think I like you. And then she kind of like picks up elements in this story he's telling that might not be true about how he broke up with his ex, and like the way that the conversation plays out, it's like they're like analyzing one another. Like there's a lot we don't know and that they don't know about each other, and as we learn it, it kind of recontextualizes who they are, and like you really feel this sense that they kind of develop a kinship in the course of this conversation, which is why like I might complain about overlong conversations in anime sometimes, but this felt like a believable conversation, like one that you would actually have between two people, and it spans a lot of topics. So in the end, it feels like we've spent enough time with these characters and know them well enough that at the end of this one conversation, we already understand their connection and where the plot's gonna go, like how they're connected, and when the action starts, it's entertaining. So yeah, I had a good time with it as well. Really love the character art, and mostly just think the girl is fucking just so goddamn.
It looks charming.
Entertaining.
All the little yokais are really cute. Yeah, it's too bad I didn't watch it. Maybe I'll go back and do that. And I noticed she has a pimp cane, which is pretty sick.
Yes.
Yeah, because she got her eye gouged out and
Jesus Christ.
Lost one of her legs.
Yes, her right eye is fake and her left leg is fake.
Was that like?
Which is also hot.
On purpose? Or what was that?
Well, it's
about?
because
she sacrificed it to become a god of wisdom, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Basically, like it's like a Shinto sort of thing where like all these little spirits out in the mountains like found her, and like because a lot of like minor Japanese spirits are functionally retarded.
Right.
So they tell her like, we're dumb, be our brain, and she says okay. So they take her eye and her leg, and she becomes a god. But she considers this to be a fair trade. Like she sees herself as, I want to protect all these creatures, and like so like she basically becomes like a Shinigami from Bleach. Like she has to fight big monsters to save small monsters, I guess. But the guy, he has some kind of mysterious fucking power where if the monsters eat him, they will dissolve, basically. And also he can regrow his body parts. We don't really know much about it, but seems like an action spirit detective kind of show. Maybe it'll develop an ongoing plot eventually. People seem to really like the manga, so I don't know. I think this could be
Yeah, I've
fun.
heard some great
Obviously, the
things about
anime
the
is
manga.
not going to go anywhere because it's only 12 episodes.
I would say personally, this is definitely better than the manga. Now, the manga is an adaptation of a light novel. I think it's pretty obvious that this is a light novel adaptation from the extremely long sequences of
that makes more
uninterrupted
sense.
dialogue.
Yeah.
The manga is way worse because the background art is either non-existent or hideous.
Wait, where did you hear that this... I'm only seeing that it's a manga. I don't see anything about a light novel.
Someone who had read the manga told me that it was a light novel, so that's what I was basing it off of.
Well, apparently they don't know what they're talking about.
All right. Well,
'cause
the
on Mile it
manga
says manga.
is way less interesting because it's just walls of dialogue.
Oh, boy.
Whereas at least here, like, you actually get to hear some voices and, you know, there's some camera work and stuff going on. Personally, I was still kind of checked out. I mean, this first episode is covering most of the material that was in the chapter I had already read because the chapters are like 80 pages long. They're like crazy long. So maybe I've heard some things about the way it develops the like core concept that sounds pretty interesting. So I'm interested in seeing more. From what I've heard, it seems to take in directions. But like the initial dynamic, I wasn't too sold on. I hate the character design of the guy. I think he looks really bland and boring.
It's pretty generic.
And the whole element of like whenever I see in a show where it's like, oh, I've held on to my feelings for you for years. It just my eyes roll back and I want to like shoot my brains out. I hate that trope so much.
But I like that combined with like immediately after like we see that flashback, she's just so blunt about it. I like that contrast. I don't know. I thought it just immediately made me attracted to this character.
Yeah,
I was like immediately invested.
I just love that she's so direct, even though she's like, she's clearly abnormal. She's like kind of a bit of an autist, I guess, but like she is not shy at all, and it makes her really endearing. And again, I love the character. I mean, she's kind of like a Toho-esque character design, so got me by the balls.
She's a 7.68 on Mal. It's pretty good. It's pretty high.
Okay, wait.
That score's
Just
a little high,
correction.
but
I was right. A novel written by Kyoshiro Daira began in 2011 in Kodansha's novels. It's on Wikipedia, but I guess it's just like
weird.
The manga has only started blowing up fairly recently. Like I only started hearing about it, and the manga also didn't start till 2015. So it's probably a thing of like it's just like no one cared about this series. So I mean, there's a lot of light novels that just aren't translated.
This must be, well, it says Japanese novel, so it might be that it's not a light novel, but a novel,
Ooh,
and maybe that's why
that's
listed
true.
on
That's true.
Mal. That could be the difference.
Let's leave that up to the scientists to interpret and move on to our next show.
All right. Next up is Dorohedoro. I'll introduce this one because I have read this, at least the first volume of this manga. Dorohedoro is a batshit nuts show that takes place in this grimy underground, I guess, city called Hole. It just looks like an endless, wretched hellscape of blown out buildings and freak people. With the main character's got an alligator head, and he hangs out with this sort of buff blonde girl who they beat people up. There's these wizards that come through doors into Hull. They're all fucking weird looking, and they all have the power to transform people into weird freaks. So they just show up at Hull, and they just fuck around with people for the hell of it. But these two are going around and killing or beating up these people, these wizards, and trying to find who turned the main character into an alligator. Because he has no memories. But he has there's a human face inside of him, and he does not know if it is his face or the face of whoever transformed him. So he's trying to find out by putting people in his mouth and having them confront the face.
I love that they start the first episode just with the guy in his mouth confronting the man inside his mouth. I mean, that was a very grabbing scene.
It's exactly how the manga starts as well. And the manga has really beautiful, extremely detailed artwork. So
let's talk CG.
Of
real
course,
quick.
the only way it was going to be able to adapt it is in CG. Studio Mappa's doing it, and I have to say I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. And I'm more into 3D than most people. I'm a much bigger CG apologist, I think. But it's been done extremely well. We just finished Beastars. which looked great.
It's not up to that level.
This is not B-stars. No,
No,
it's not.
I think
not there.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I hate it. I think, I mean, I'm thinking of the better examples. It was tolerable. I was like, I bet this would have been really nice to see in some great animation. But I mean, I kind of think that of every anime. Like, you always can do it better. You know, I enjoyed it, so it didn't really bother me.
My issue is not so much with the fact that it is CG, but more like how the aesthetic was translated, especially the color design. Because like I started watching this episode, I was like about halfway through, and then I went to my second monitor while the episode was still playing. I went to Mangadex and I looked up the manga and I read the first chapter while I was watching the episode. I was like, the visual like colors of the world in the anime are so bright and cartoony, and it feels really disconnected from the what I got from the manga's aesthetic, where it seems more it's playing both sides. Like, they're kind of edgy and cool, but they're also goofy. This one, it's just goofy. There's no, like, it's not cool at all to me.
It was pretty
or
damn
also
goofy.
like the buff girl in the manga. She's kind of like, she's doofy, but she's kind of cute. She's got like that kind of like plainness, but in a cute way. In the anime, she's just ugly. She's just straight ugly.
She's thick but ugly. That face.
Yeah, she looks like a potato. But like you said, it's that the colors are just so bright and garish, and like they explode and they clash off each other, and like the backgrounds still look kind of like worn and lived in and everything. But then you got this poppiness, and like you said, the manga, it's more gritty. It feels more dark and kind of serious. Like the anime also, it still feels that way because the plot is dark and there's just constant fucking intense violence. But like, yeah, it's way more silly. It feels more comical. Starting off Dorohedoro in the manga, I did not think of it as a comedy until I had been reading it for like a while, And then I was like, okay, there's a lot of like comedic undercurrent here. The anime paints it as a comedy. The OP is a comedic OP, and is hilarious and pretty fun. But
I feel like they probably decided early on like which way they wanted to go, like grim, like brutal, and there certainly is plenty of violence and blood and stuff, but it definitely seems like it's leaning towards more the.
I just wish like if they could pick any aesthetic, I would have liked one that was more cohesive feeling, less just like the fucking green that they chose for him. Like, they could have chose any shade of green, but they went with like the limest, brightest fucking green, and it just like refracts off his face. It's like like this almost cell shaded like look compared to, again, grittier backgrounds that don't look similar. So it's weird, it's jarring, but like the story is so weird and jarring that it doesn't not fit. Like it didn't feel wrong to me. Yeah. It just wasn't as good. And I still enjoyed it, ultimately.
I mean, the whole story,
crazy shit happens.
The premise is grabbing. Weird, like, freakish alien people, or I guess they're just normal people, like, under assault from mages, coming in and just turning them into, like, weird creatures. We see, like, episode 1, a guy who can turn people into bugs shows up. He's fucking with a bunch of people, turn him into fucking bugs. He does it to blonde lady. And then our boy, who's conveniently immune to magic, just comes in, cuts him to fucking pieces. It seems like there's a larger plot being unraveled that I don't fucking understand at all. But, I mean, I'm enjoying the violence and, like, the madness of whatever the fuck is going on here. It was a very enjoyable experience. Was not what I expected, but I guess I didn't know what I fucking expected. So, all in all, I mean, it was definitely a good time watching it. I guess that's the best thing I could say about it. I like every individual aspect of it. I don't know where it's going. I hope somewhere good. I know a lot of people had a lot of hopes and are speaking very highly of like the manga and whatnot, hoping this is a good adaptation.
The manga wrapped up just in 2018 with 23 volumes, so it's quite long.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea where it goes really because I've only read the first volume, but like it wastes no time raising tons of questions. And it also seems like it's not necessarily going to make us wait forever for answers for all those questions. Like, sometimes it'll kind of, like, there'll be something kind of mysterious, then we get an answer for what the hell it is not long afterwards, like, within the same episode here. Like, because we just start in such a fucking weird scenario that, like, any information at all is, like, a massive step up in how much context we have. So, like, it feels like these like fairly big revelations keep happening throughout the episode because everything we learn just contextualizes things way more. But like, what's the deal with the face inside the guy? What's the deal with the evil wizards at all? Anything about them? How does the magic work? What's with the girl whose face he accidentally tore off at the end of the episode?
That was too bad.
Absolutely brutal and hilarious.
Rest in peace.
There was like at the end we see someone beating up people that I notice have the same like red crosses over their eyes that Kaimon has. Like obviously there's some connection. I guess that's the first clue to our mystery. Maybe I don't know. Obviously some wizard. Knowing what we got, some wizard probably fucked with Kaimon and turned him into a lizard man. So like, which one? Who did it? Why'd they do it? Is it these cross people? I don't know. But I guess we've got some elements to go with. So like, I'd definitely be interested to see where it goes. Mm-hmm. I also have one other small point to make, which was I don't know what subgroup you guys watch this anime from, but I got my subtitles from a little group called the Pod-D Scans on Twitter at Pod-D Scanlations. I know these guys. They're an up-and-coming scanning and subbing group, and they do good work. They're doing One Piece and Boku no Hero, or not Boku no Hero. Fucking Black Clover, the Chad version. So go check them out. They're good lads.
Great series. Love Black Clover. Incredible.
Is that a joke or is that serious? I can't tell.
That's 100% a joke. I hate Black Clover.
His laughter cut that off. I literally didn't hear what you just said. Say it again, please.
I despise Black Clover with every bone in my body.
You hear that, potty boys? Keep it up. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt somebody? Jack, were you saying something?
I don't think so, no.
Well, say something, damn it. I'm putting the microphone
I thought it was okay. The aesthetic was kind of jarring. I felt like a lot of the backgrounds didn't fit the characters at points. Mm-hmm. Like Digi was saying, the green of the character was pretty off. The CG was kind of jarring to me at first, and then I got kind of used to it. I thought it was fine.
My impression jumping in, I think, was similar. Like, I walk in, I'm washed over with, like, oh, this isn't great CG. But then, like, once I'm over that, I'm just kind of following the story and mostly enjoying it as it goes.
Yeah, I really liked the OP for this. It was just the buff girl just cooking a meal. I was like, that's funny. That's funny, yeah.
The dude,
that was the
like,
best part of the
rainbow
show.
Chad striding around somehow with, like, a million.
Yeah.
That was cool.
He has, like, the GIMP outfit from fucking Pulp Fiction on. Oh, my God.
I guess like they wear the masks to go into like the other world with the doors with the I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure we'll find out more.
The wizard world. It's such a weird premise, but I might watch more, or I might just read the manga.
I almost feel like I think I would probably prefer to read the manga at this point. I'm leaning a little bit that way, but like there's a feeling in me that's like this author intentionally made a really convoluted premise. He wants me to be confused, and I don't want to do him the fucking face. I don't want to play his game of being confused. So fuck you. I will sit here and not think about anything. I have a little bit of that going on, but I forgive him. It's not.
It's a woman, Nate.
It's a woman. Oh. Yeah. I apologize.
Of course it's
in that case, it's all genius and everything clearly makes sense. Stop squeaking in here. Get out of the damn room with your fucking frog. I'm sorry.
All right, so I'm just realizing that because of the fact that Mal kept fucking moving shit around and they put it in ONAs, I totally missed Kuutei Dragons.
That
forgot.
one.
Did
Right.
you not watch it?
I think only me and Jack watched it.
I watched it. Oh,
too. You watched it? Okay.
Nate just never updated the document.
I'm a bad boy. I should have done that. Forgive me.
But whoever wants to introduce it can, because I literally did not watch this. So I'm just gonna go pee and smoke a bong somewhere and fucking like just chill out, put my feet up, fucking go for it.
Okay, no need to brag. No need to brag. So this show it's one of those shows that, again, very simple base premise that gives a lot of opportunity for different things to be explored. In the world, it's just a world where there are dragons. However, and there were squads of these guys that go around hunting dragons because dragons mess stuff up. They're a big problem. They, eat the livestock and burn towns down. Dragon seems like a big pain to deal with as an animal.
Indeed.
In the narrative. So these guys basically go down, hunting them down. However, in the current world, there's not a whole lot of dragons left, and the squad we follow is one of the few, if I can't remember if they said it was one of the only or the only last squad of these dragon hunting guys going around. And so
I got the
first
feeling they
episode-
were one of, but not only. But I'm not sure.
But like the idea is that there's not a whole lot of this anymore. It's kind of like a fading craft, if it, like. And so first episode we see them sort of going in and hunting down this one dragon. And there's also sort of different elements because like when they go to the town, they're trading because they can take the dragon's like meat and various other things that they harvest from it, and they trade those for like different items from the townspeople. But also they're sort of viewed badly by the townspeople, like they're not really trusted. So there's that sort of dynamic, and also the one guy who seems to be sort of like the main focus of the squad, even though it's very much like an ensemble cast, is obsessed with eating dragons. He just wants to eat all the dragons. This man, he's in it for the flavor, and I was into it. I usually, Polygon picture shows, usually it's like, I look at it for 3 seconds and then I mark it as dropped. I hate almost all of their shows aesthetically. This one was different. Like the character animation I was into. I liked the environments. The character designs were much simpler than usual, which I think was to its benefit. It had color, which is like a breath of fresh air. It's like very bright and colorful. I was enjoying it a lot.
The expressions, man, I was really like astonished because I watched like one episode of Knights of Sidonia. And I was like, okay, this is like the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And then I think it was you that told me it was Polygon, and I was like, holy shit, these guys have improved. Oh, I was really...
Well, you know...
I thought the show was alright.
I mean, the first thing, of course, was like, you know, it's an adaptation of a manga. So, like, I watched it, and I see it's CG. And anytime I see, like, a manga adaptation that's CG, I'm like, ooh, I wonder what was lost in transition. And so I go and I look at the manga, and, like, oh my... The manga's, like, gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, no, we've lost.
Oh, no.
What have we lost here? The show looks nice overall. The CG wasn't, like, horrendous, but, like... maybe this is mean to say, but like, you think the mangaka woke up one day and is like, I want to make my perfect version of this anime. CG is the way to do it. That's the answer for me. I don't think that's how that went.
Definitely
down.
not.
But what was there, I did really like. I thought the ensemble cast was pretty charming, and like the way that they have to interact with these people. They're all like outcasts. They're just like a band. It had kind of I meant to say like a band of outlaws. I mean, that's what I think it means. Drifter dragons, or like drifter dragon hunters or something. They're roaming from place to place, being persecuted a little bit, but hunting down dragons. Like at the very beginning, seeing the fight against the dragon, its big chance to win me over. And I thought that battle, seeing main character guy do his cool like slide along, you know, ribbon thing, I was like, whoa, this is like really cool aerial combat. And while it seems very reckless and most people would die, this guy has enough plot armor for me to be like, yeah, that's something cool I might do if I knew I wouldn't die, of slide along the rope to the dragon via tether, stab it in the fucking brain, and, you know, and then like later on during...
Be just an epic dude.
Be an epic dude. There was like, I really had an appreciation for their like understanding of aerial combat, because... a little bit, they're kind of like falling down a lot on this deck. I'm like, some people have to be falling off this deck, but like for the most part, I could ignore that. These are seasoned fighters for the most part. But then like later on, when main character guy gets actually flung off the thing, I thought it was really cool that like he had right on his belt, he has like a rope right there that he knows exactly what to do. He throws it up so someone can grab it. Someone does grab it. They're like, grab the hook, because like we have procedures for exactly when this sort of thing happens. And then they use it, and it works. And I was like, that's well thought out structure of this organization. I like this. I like this. And that's how I felt. Overall, I just felt it very enjoyable.
I really liked all the character dynamics. They're all, you know, they all have very distinct personalities that lend themselves really well to enjoyable interactions. You know, one guy's a little more brash and, you know, abrasive. The other guy's, you know, he's more of the peacemaker. One guy's just super, like the guy who eats dragons, he's just like the really weirdo freak.
That's,
and
I mean,
like
that's
the
real
orange-haired girl,
people.
The orange-haired girl is just really cute, and I love her.
She's our lead into the organization, I guess, is like sort of the new recruit. I guess my one like concern, it is an ensemble. We meet a lot of characters episode 1, which is fine, including like the quirky main character kind of guy. Or like most important sort of focal strong guy. The girl clearly seems to be the main character if the ending is anything to judge by. But like right now my concern is that we met all the characters, they've all got their little quirks. The guy loves food, she's new to the team, whatever. But like I'm not seeing a very strong character from anyone in terms of like, I can't wait to see how this person interacts with people going forward. It's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit thin, a little bit surface level. So I guess I'm kind of like the first episode is a very contained story where we just get like a little bit of depth into all these characters. We see a couple of cool fights. We learn a little bit about the world, and like you could like end the series right now, and it'd be like, and their adventures continued. But so like
definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
It definitely strikes me as, I mean, I don't know what the manga is like. I haven't read it. But it based on this first episode, it strikes me as the kind of thing where like, yeah, what they're going to do is each episode is going to be kind of self-contained, and it's just going to focus on a different dragon and how, like, what that means, like, from the point of, like, for the guy who likes eating dragons, what it tastes like, and then just generally, like, what their strategy is going to be to fighting it, like, what its behaviors are and stuff.
Yeah. And, maybe it's a silly... It's just a thing that I like to think about time to time. But, like, the dragons were these weird, like, Cthulhu beasts. They certainly didn't look like traditional, like, Western or even Eastern dragons. And it kind of reminded me of Legend of Dragoon and how, while that game was just, like, about people getting powers from dragons and doing dope shit, a favorite of mine, like, the dragons all looked like weird, fucked up Cthulhu monsters. And I just hope they do more of that. And I hope they don't all look like these weird monsters from this one thing. I hope there's diversity, and they're all kind of weird, different dragon designs. So,
you need a black dragon.
I agreed. You need a red dragon, you need a gold dragon. The whole D&D
pantheon. You need a trans dragon.
Ooh. A dragon girl to make their girlfriend. That would be a nice twist. Get a little waifu going on.
Dragon sex scene, please.
They can do a crossover with interspecies reviewers when they land in the village.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck dragons. Perfect.
Well, it sounds like we're all basically in favor of it. I enjoyed it. I would watch more.
I regret missing out on it. I literally fucking totally blanked because it wasn't in the regular TV section anymore.
Lol.
Well,
are we done? Is that it?
No, there are still 3 more shows to cover. Did anybody suffer through A3, Season Spring and Summer?
Ooh, I skipped through it.
I watched like half of it.
Here, you talk. I'm going to go piss.
I didn't even make it halfway. It show
was something special.
It's
you can talk about it.
It's about it's a pretty boy show about a guy who's like going to be an actor, I guess. I don't even think I made it like 2 minutes into this, dude. Like there was something it was that the voice acting is fucking terrible, and the show's about acting.
Yes.
And that was it. That was enough. Like, I couldn't fucking put up with it, because they're, like, they're reading quotes from, like, Shakespeare and shit. But, like, there's a scene where the main character is, like, on a riverbed, like, quoting Shakespeare, like, training, I guess. But the way that the voice actor is performing the role is like he's playing a cute anime boy who is pretending to read Shakespeare, but he just sounds like happy and genki and cutesy, which doesn't match the lines that he's reading, which are, like, tragic, and he's not.
Well, like, the thing about that character is that, like, he's a really bad actor in the show. Like, it kind of.
But everybody else is a bad
really
actor too.
Exactly. Like, no, it's really stupid.
Because they so he goes to Tokyo or whatever, and there's like supposed to be this acting troupe that's just like out in the streets, and there's these 2 pretty boys, and like they're first of all, they are enacting a scene out of like a soap opera, like a generic scene that is known for terrible overacting. Like that's what that whole genre is known for, and they're doing it not even like hammed up to an extent that would be entertaining. They're just like doing like a very normal read of these lines in the voices that again just sound like how cute anime boy voices sound. So like that was enough. I can't watch a show about acting where the acting is fucking terrible. Like it just doesn't. It won't work.
Oh no, I don't know how I got through as much as I did. The premise it's just really stupid. Like the one boy at the beginning belongs to this acting troupe that doesn't make any money because he is the only member of the acting troupe and he just joined a day before. But we're supposed to care about this acting troupe being like torn down because the manager still wants to do it. But there's like literally no members besides this one boy. It's like fundamentally broken. Like I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? What give me a hook. Give me something to care about.
It's like asking you to be
really
emotionally invested, but it's like I literally could not care less about this guy's struggles.
He seems like
he's a shit actor.
I mean, they
He
present
deserves
him as
to fail.
like,
Yeah.
he's essentially presented as like an idiot, right? So it's like, who gives a
Yeah.
fuck? I mean, everything about it felt completely wrong to me. It's just one of those like instant gut reaction of like, this is bad. Like I can tell this is not going to do it.
Whoever came up with that idea is a goddamn idiot. Yeah. I don't think I have much else to say. It's just really bad and should be avoided.
So that next up we have Natsunagu. This was one that had not been subbed when we did our last episode, but it has been now. Did you watch it, Nate?
I did. I watched both like 3-minute long episodes. Did you
I
guys
didn't know
watch it
there
too?
were two. So what happens in them since you watched both?
Sure. So in episode 1, basically, I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but this is like funded by like the people.
This is a Fed post. This is a literal anime Fed post.
Yeah,
the Feds
right.
funded this show.
That's right. And is it, what's the name of the area that they went to? It was like, is it Natsunagu or fucking, there's an area, like whatever area it is that like sponsored this, it's the one they go to. Okay, there was like an earthquake there. Yeah, there was an
real
earthquake.
life earthquake happened in this town.
Oh.
That's right.
Assume.
And as I understand it, this anime was made like as part of the rebuilding effort to like get hype and get money for it. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So like a girl had a friend who lived in the area where the earthquake was, and it was relatively serious. There was some shit got fucked up. So the girl, she was friends with her via an online game for years, and she had her name and address, but not any contact, like phone number or anything. And the game, she fires it up. Oh, she gets a message after like 4 years of not speaking to the girl in game. She gets a message saying like, hi. And like when she goes to respond, the game ceases functioning. It's deleted from the app store, which is fairly ominous. But I guess it was just a coincidence. So the girl is now like, well, shit. Like, I wondered if, like, she was okay after, like, this fucking earthquake. I know she lived in the area. What am I going to do? And she's like, well, I've got some money. I guess I will just go try to find her with the information I have. So, like, that's episode 1. She gets there, and she goes to the house, and the house is gone. It's, like, been destroyed. So she's like,
Oh, shit.
Big anime cut. Episode 2, she hangs out with a policeman, tries to, like, she knows the name of the lady, like, Itsuki Kunosuke or whatever the fuck it is. The cop is they go to, like, town hall. They, like, could give her the information, but they're like, oh, sorry, girl. That information, like, is private. We can't give it to you because it's, it's public information, or it's, it's her fucking address. We're not allowed to give it out. So she and the cop leave, and she's like, oh, well, guess we can't do anything. And then at the very end, a little girl runs up and is like, oh, hey, you two, stop. Says nothing, and the episode ends. And that's where episode 3 presumably would begin. So,
my assumption immediately was that the girl died in the earthquake and that she's, like, sending spirit messages to the girl.
Maybe? That's not what I got from it, but maybe. I just think it was all a weird coincidence, and they're going to be best friends and hang out. But I don't know. I don't fucking know. So, I mean, the animation was, like, very soft and cute. So I kind of enjoyed just watching it for that. Yeah. The main girl is cute. I like her hair.
I had slightly higher expectations because like the promotional art is like immediately appealing. Like this girl
dude,
is
the promotional art.
She's insanely cute. I love her design. Everything about it.
Yeah.
And the tidal wave going, like this is what I thought was the most like appealing promo art of the season. Like whoever made this image deserves a raise. Whoever came up with the idea in the first place of the show, though, I think this is fairly misguided. Like,
yeah.
So, okay. In the wake of the 2011 earthquake and nuclear disaster, a lot of relief fund, like, inspiring anime was made, right?
Yeah,
like, Yoko Kanno made a song with a children's choir that was, like, a huge #1 single with an animated video that's, like, this heart-wrenching fucking thing. What's his name? Yutaka Yamamoto did a Sigur Rós fucking AMV with angel moe girls fucking saving Japan's farms. Like, but those are, like, huge emotional like gut punch, like meant to make you cry and then donate to the button below. Like this show is like it almost feels like a more like those tourism guide shows where it's like more meant to be like, hey, let's take a tour of this place. And like I imagine that part of it is because everybody already knows this earthquake happened. It happened in 2016.
Oh, by the way, it was Kumamoto. It was Kumamoto. That's right.
Yeah, so the Kumamoto earthquake happened in 2016. So this is 4 years later. So I think what they want to show us is, look how bad it still is. Like, we have not finished repairs.
Yeah.
We are still in debt. Like, and so, like, let's take a tour through Kumamoto. But, like, it's so like on the nose that to me it just reads as like a Fed post, like literally. Like, this is meant to make me give money to earthquake relief.
In episode 2,
you don't have to make a whole anime. I'll just give you the money.
Yeah, fair enough. Spare me the trouble.
Don't waste your fucking resources making this. So it looks like it's probably made by like one guy or something. You know?
When she goes to like the town hall, I definitely got the sense the way they like hold on it and like show it so clearly. I was like, okay, this really feels. I don't know, but it feels like this is a picture of the actual like Kumamoto town hall that they recreated for this anime, and they want to give everybody in Kumamoto a big like, hey, there's our town hall in anime, how cool, which like is fine, but like does nothing for me as the audience. It just like makes them feel good, which by the way won't get you any more dollars in terms of rebuilding your fucking infrastructure or any of that shit. So I'm not sure I would have gone with that way. But like the girl is just unbelievably adorable, and I just love looking at her. She's like the cutest in the game.
I mean,
She's
this
cute,
is one of those shows where it's like, I mean, part of the reason I like short shows is because like they're so easy to watch. Like,
that's
you can just put them on, and if they look nice, it's like it's just something to have in front of your face for a few minutes a day. You can look at something that like is nice. And that's kind of what this show is. Like, I wasn't super engaged. Like, honestly, I watched the first episode because last I had checked, the second episode wasn't subbed yet. And, like, it left literally no impression, like, when it comes to, like, the story. I remembered, like, literally nothing. But it looks cute, so I'll probably watch the whole thing and give it, like, a 5 out of 10.
I've been
fair enough.
Been there on many shows like this. I mean, that's the kind of thing I would probably do if this show was all out already. Like, I wouldn't watch this week by week, but if it, I mean, what is it, fucking 20 minutes, you know?
Probably,
I would easily just
YouTube
plow
video
through that. I would plow through that just to mark it on Mal, just to pump my completed list. Like, for no other reason. It'd be worth it for that. And the same is true of the next show we're going to talk about, which is Breakers. Did anybody watch Breakers?
Yeah.
I forgot to put it on our list.
Missed
but,
it.
Did not. Missed it.
This is a show about what's the politically correct way of saying this?
You could call them Paralympians.
Thank you.
It's nice and safe.
God, I fucking good.
I just call them good old fashioned tards myself, but you know, I don't know.
Well, that's what they're called in the show. They're referred to as it's a show about Paralympians. About there's a kid who has I think he has one fake leg. Or maybe both of his legs are fake. I don't remember.
In the promo, they're both gone, but I don't know.
It looks like wait. Well, he like we first see him like playing regular basketball on fake legs. Like he's not normally wheelchair bound per se. He also has like only like between both hands 7 fingers. Like most of his fingers are missing.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
And they always do this, like, he always gives, like, this fist bump where it's, like, this claw fist bump, you know, is, like, his thing. It's kind of cheesy. And, but, you know, he basically is, like, not that, he's, you know, fairly young, so he can't be that amazing at basketball. But he has an older brother who's, like, a basketball star, and he wants to be like him. And this dude who is, this is a fucking strange character, but there's a guy who we're introduced to. You know how like Seto Kaiba has that computer room that he hangs out in for like most of the first season? It's like that room. There's like a guy who's like surrounded by this like giant computer rig system, and he's like talking to his AI like assistant.
Okay.
And he basically is like scouting through just countless amounts of like footage of like disabled people playing sports all around the world because he's trying to collect like the perfect Paralympic team. and like he wants to like collect these special children, I guess. So like he happens to see our kid, and he's like, oh, like, you know, he's really being limited by trying to play regular basketball. He should be trying to play like, you know, wheelchair basketball. So he brings in like a wheelchair basketball team into this kid's like just school gym auditorium basically, and it's like, hey, I'm going to introduce you to fucking wheelchair basketball, and that's basically all that happens because it's 3-minute episode. But
Okay.
it's got an interesting kind of aesthetic. Like, it's another show that looks like it could have been drawn by one guy, and it's got like a very rough line art and some pretty decent animation. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's surprisingly expressive for, you know, a short show. Personally, I wasn't into this one. I mean, it's a similar issue as the last one where it just kind of feels like promotion. Like it's just an advertisement for the Olympics.
the Paralympics particularly.
Yeah, in this case. Whereas, where it's like, it's one of those things where it feels like the person making it is more interested in the concept of like para-athleticism than like the people doing athletics. Like if I were to see a show like this, I want to get into like the characters, like what's their psyche like, how is this issue like affect them mentally and the struggles they have to overcome. This show like does not seem to really care at all about that. It's just about like them doing this different, you know, field of sports in itself, I mean, which just like, doesn't interest me that much. I mean, I already think sports are boring. It's, you know.
Sure.
If you look at the image on Mal, it's like each of them has like a different, you know, like injury, I guess.
Yeah.
And so like it carries that very like 90s cartoon inclusivity vibe in that picture, and the show like bleeds that. Like it really feels that way because like there's a manga called Real by the same guy who made Slam Dunk about wheelchair basketball. Like utterly gorgeous artwork, and it's a real story, you know. This is like a daytime special about like how, you know, hey, it almost feels like this show is meant to say specific, and this is a noble goal, to say to children, like, if you are disabled and you feel like you can't compete in, you know, regular sports, like there are exciting other versions of those sports that you can participate in where your talents will be better utilized, where, you know, like there's all these unique aspects to it, and you can get into this meta of this sport instead of the one that you know. Yeah. And like maybe it's trying to introduce the new rules of these sports to those kids. That could be a noble goal, but yeah, it's very fucking corny. Like the kid with his like his fist bump with the fingers missing, like just shoving it in your face like that is like, you know. Am I meant to like get like heart flutters when I see that? Is it meant to, you know, like what am I meant to feel from this? Like,
you know, I didn't watch it, so I can't really comment. But like stories about people in these conditions or whatever is always like, to a certain degree, you have to like focus on it and like make it a point, and like you want to just tell a story about people, right? And whatever their circumstances are, great. You take them and you tell the best story you can. I mean, hopefully you tell a good story with them, whatever it is. But like, if you have a story about like people with disabilities of any kind, like you have to have a purpose for it there, or else why would you have it there? So there will naturally be like a funnel effect where you have to like make it the subject to a degree. So you have to choose your approach. It sounds like this is just plain old like Paralympic propaganda, which is fine. You know, watch this if you give a shit. I don't give a shit inherently, so why would I ever watch it? I don't know.
Yep. Well, that's it. We fucking talked about all the goddamn winter 2020 season anime first episodes. It took fucking 3 hours to get through each end, but we're fucking here on the other side. Big thank you to Jackisboy for being on both episodes. If you want to promote anything here.
Hell yeah. Subscribe to my YouTube, Jackisboy, and follow me on Twitter.
You know, I found a musician on YouTube named Jack Boy. I'm thinking I'm just going to subscribe to him instead. He seems like the upgraded
Do that, dude. Support. He probably makes better shit than me, honestly.
Although I was in one of your videos recently, so that was...
that's true. But Nate was in my latest video.
True. Check it out.
And also, Core has joined us this time, and it was great having you on. What do you want to promote?
So on YouTube, I'm Core, Kor, though also if you search Core Reviews, I'll come up as well. On Twitter, I'm at Core Reviews because 3 letters is too short for a handle on literally any website except YouTube.
You'll be Core Reviews till the day you die. I'm putting that on your birth certificate.
Never escape.
I like your stuff. I liked your mind game video. It expanded my.
I am curious, since you said you made a
thoughts on
top
mind
15 anime of all time. I'm gonna go check that out.
It's the funniest thing about that list is that I can tell that you're a bit younger and newer to anime, but your taste is like, aside from the few like 2010s shows that are in there, like the absolute exact like taste of the average like anime blogger circa 2009. Like, because there was once at the end of at the end of 2009, everybody made top 50 of the decade lists, and this guy called Aqua Blue Sweater, he collected all of them and like ran them through all these statistics, got all the statistical data out of them and like organized what was the number one according to the most lists, and like counted down from there, and like Core Reviews list is like a lot of his number one is the same as what was the number one. Let's put it.
We can mathematically prove that you've got shit taste, and that's
that he's got good taste. I guess he's got moody internet anime boy taste. That's what I would call it. Emotional thinker. Kind of captivated by beautiful girls that are drawn in like serial experiments lane.
Brainlit incel,
it is literally it's the basic for like my entire like aesthetic, basically.
All right, well, let's get the hell out of here. We're all done, everybody.
Oh, wait, before we leave, though, I want to say that we are planning to start a show that I'm calling the Quarterly Classic Binge, where every quarter we're going to, maybe once a month, try to cover a gigantically long fucking old show. Because none of us ever gets around to watching gigantically long old shows because nobody talks about them and we don't feel any sense of accomplishment for getting it done. So what we'll do is do a podcast and everybody in the audience can keep up with us. So in order to launch this, I figured we'd do something short and just do it as a one-off, and then like announce what we were going to do for the second one in that. So I don't know when we'll do this, probably in like a week. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But I want to do the original Patlabor OVA and the first movie.
The Patlabor OVA is great.
Yes,
the
7-episode OVA, 7 episodes of the OVA, and then the one movie, the first movie, after that. There's a ton more to the Patlabor franchise, but this is considered to be the sort of like conventional starting point to have like a cohesive experience with it before moving on to the other timelines and shit. But we might get a special guest who's a very big Patlabor fan to go on there if he wants to do it. But that's my plan. So if you want to go ahead and just watch the Patlabor OVA and movie now in anticipation of this, that would be a good idea. But anyway, that's all.
Fantastic.
Check out all our shit in the description.
Bye.